fans, does it strike you as odd that the popularity of fantasy sports continues to grow, but the game itself never seems to change? Drafting players to be a part of your fantasy team is cool, but are you looking for something new? If you're a sports fan and you actively look for new ways to have fun and compete while watching sports, you gotta check out StatementGames.com. That's StatementGames.com. Statement Games is a new, simple, yet innovative form of sports gaming that is changing the way thousands of fans view sporting events. With Statement Games, you select player and game props or statements to compete in tournaments for prizes. Sign up for free using your Google or Facebook account. No credit card or debit card information is required. Try StatementGames.com today and watch how we take fantasy sports to the next level.
StatementGames.com. That's StatementGames.com.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the-right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here. That's what you've earned here tonight.
Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the difference between winning and losing.
It's down to the wire with Errol Marks and Speedy Petey.
Oh, Petey!
On the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome, Long Island, New York, and throughout the country. This is Down to the Wire, and I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host and producer, and my fool right beside me, Mr. Speedy Petey. As you know, you can reach us by calling the number at 631-965-4990, and you can follow us on all the social medias. How do you do that? You go to our website. How do you do that? You go to www.worldwidesportsradio.com. You can search us on all the social medias. Go to Twitter. Go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to Snapchat, go to YouTube, go to radio.com, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio, and throughout the podcast industries, throughout the maps of podcasts on the internet after our show is no longer live. So you can check us out on all those platforms. Mr. Speedy Petey, you just came back from Connecticut. How was Corona over there?
Weird.
Did you drink a Corona over there?
I did not. We don't have any Coronas, and my brother actually bought some beer yesterday, but none of them were Coronas. That would have been funny, though.
Why is that? Why would it be funny?
Because everyone is bashing the beer because it's related to a virus. Apparently, even though it's really not.
Are you related to a virus? Because you look like one.
We'll see. If they name a virus after me in 20 years, we'll see.
You're a very bad bacteria, Speedy. You know that? It's like... It's
I'll
a
think
bacteria that doesn't exist.
I'll think of this moment if there's ever a virus named after me in 20 years.
There you go. As you know, this is a sports radio show, and I want to get into the sports talk, and there's very few things going on in sports right now because of the coronavirus. And I called it Coronius because I think it's erroneous. And I know a lot of people throughout the country on all sports radio shows are talking about the coronavirus, and it's becoming an epidemic over here in New York. I mean, I think there's about 78 or 79 people that have passed away from this disease in the United States. I call it a disease because I would say it's a disease now more than a virus. But when you think of sports, and over the years, we have not been in a situation like this where we have completely lost every single sport in less than a week. Baseball is being pushed off till May. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Football will have their draft on April 23rd to the 25th, but there will be probably no people allowed to go into the audience to watch the draft. So that's going to be interesting as well. You talk about the NBA. They're saying the NBA won't start until June. And more than likely, that's when the NHL is probably going to start for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I heard they were going to do 2 months and try to experiment with it. And then Gary Bettman was saying we're definitely having a cup winner, even if it means maybe shortening the playoffs or shortening the end of the regular season or whatever it takes. But we saw the NHL during a lockout extend to the end of June, so he'll even push it further if that's what it takes. He wants to have a full season.
But the story right now is the NFL. That is the story right now, and it came out on Saturday that the NFL has come to an agreement with the CBA, with the Players Union. And what's interesting about this particular deal from the CBA is they're adding an extra game. They're not adding an extra week where you're going to have rest, which a lot of players are very upset about. And they're adding more teams to the playoff picture. Now, what does that do for some teams? Well, there'll be more 8-8 teams that'll make the playoffs now. Mm-hmm. Maybe even a 7-9 team. That gives a chance to some of these other teams that were not expected to make the playoffs. And what makes it so interesting is because if you have a hot team getting into the playoffs, if they start the season 3-7 and they win their next 4 or 5 games and they slip right into the playoffs, they could be the hot team and they can roll right over to the Super Bowl. So that's what makes it interesting. What doesn't make it interesting for players is the fact that they might be making a little bit more money, which they will, because they're playing more games. There'll be more TV deals, more millions of dollars for these teams and these owners to make. So obviously the players will make a piece of it. The problem is these players already have problems staying healthy all season long. Now you're adding an extra game and possibly an extra 2 or 3 games in the playoffs for some of these teams to go all the way to the Super Bowl. That means if you're a wild card team, you're going to have to go through 4 games counting the Super Bowl. To get to the Super Bowl, you're going to have to win, and win the Super Bowl, you're going to have to win 4 games if you're a wild card team.
Well, you had to do that anyway if you were a wild card team.
Well, I mean 5 games, if not my
Oh, 5 games.
5
Okay,
games.
yeah.
What throws me off about this deal, and I was very surprised that the Players Union actually agreed to this, was the fact that a lot of people like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, they were completely against it. Because both quarterbacks, especially guys like Aaron Rodgers, who has fought injury year in and year out, this guy cannot stay healthy for his team and his organization. Now he's got to play an extra game in the regular season, which could implicate where they're going to land in the playoffs or if they don't make the playoffs. And there are a lot of players, a lot of more players now, people that are getting older, and they're no longer ageless, that are going to have to deal with this for the next 3 or 4 years as a pro.
Yeah, especially if you're dealing with a wear and tear of certain positions, offensive line, defensive line, running backs that already have injury issues. Their shelf lives are going to be even shorter now. We have already seen teams try to platoon running backs now, and that's going to only further it with 17 games. Michael Thomas even said this is going to lead to a lot of load management with certain players too, and players should really start to want to do that and keep track of it more because of this.
If I was a player right now, I would not be happy. Not because I'm going to make more money, because obviously these players want to make more money. They want to build more opportunity to give their families more opportunity in the future, and their families' families, and their families' families. Because the more money they make, the more money they save, the more money they can invest, and the more money their kids and their kids' could have for the rest of their lives. The problem with this is when you look at the big picture, these teams are going to have to now protect some of their players, their quarterbacks. They might need to go after a backup quarterback that could play 3-4 extra games in a regular season because you don't want to wear out your starting quarterback going into the playoffs.
You're seeing that a lot in baseball with the way rosters are managed now, too. It's a lot about depth, a lot about versatility. Now you're going to see that definitely with football, too. Backup quarterbacks, backup pass rushers. We're already seeing running backs and receivers plentiful. They rotate all the time with those positions. So you're definitely right where that's going to happen. And like I said, load management is going to be very key, especially with younger players, to make sure they don't wear them out too early in their career so they have good longevity.
And that's why when I look at the big picture of this deal for the NFL, you can like it. As a fan, you love it because you're going to get to see an extra game of football and you're going to see more games in the playoffs. And by the way, your team that usually can't sneak into the playoffs with a 9-7 record or an 8-8 record is going to get into the playoffs, which anytime, and you know this about the NFL, Speedy, all you got to do is get into the playoffs and you can go all the way and win a Super Bowl. It is absolutely possible. We've seen wild card teams. We've seen a sixth place team or the last place wild card team go all the way to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. We saw it with the Giants. We saw it with the Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers in the last 10 years. We've seen it. So it's possible for it to happen. But now you have the NFL, and I understand Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell is all about making money. We all know that. He tried to hide CTE from the Players Union and tried to hide CTE throughout the league for all these years. And now look at Patrick Willis retiring and all the different NFL players retiring because of these situations with brain injury and CTE, as you know, with the Aaron Hernandez situation. But now the NFL is trying to find more ways to make money. The TV deals are pretty much intact. They're making money off of these deals as far as advertisements and sponsorships with Reebok and Nike and Adidas. But now the NFL is starting to look at the big picture. We need to find more revenue. We need to find more ways to make money. And how do we do that? We add more games and more opportunity for these other teams. Like you think about it, the Jets were 7-9 this year. The Jets could have sneaked in the playoffs if this was implicated this past year. They could have snuck right into the playoffs or would have been a borderline playoff team.
Yeah, they were currently 1 or 2 game, the first or second team out if they were a 7-team playoffs, because the Steelers was the next team in. And if they were to do that, they could have had a tiebreaker. If the Steelers lost too, they would have both been 8-9. Who knows what would have happened?
And that's why I know a lot of teams and a lot of owners are going to love this, because their team has a chance to make the playoffs every single year. As teams like the Jets and the Giants or the Buffalo Bills that always are 1 game or 2 games short. All these different teams that just couldn't sneak into the playoffs year in and year out. Now they have the chance.
The Bears from like 2008 to 2013, I think 4 different times they were the first team out of the playoffs.
And that's why, in the big picture, it works for the owners. It works for the league, because it's all about money to these guys. I don't understand how the players' union, when you have Russell Wilson say no to it, practically half the quarterbacks said nay to it. They did not want this. But then there are offensive linemen. And remember, the players' union, all the players get to vote. And there was a significant high vote for players that wanted this implicated into the NFL.
Which is bizarre, because besides last year, where you saw a lot of quarterbacks go down, a lot of quarterbacks that were normally durable go down, you look at offensive linemen, running backs, defensive linemen, they're usually more injury-prone positioned, yet it seems like more of them voted for yes, which is interesting. Probably for the money's sake, because running backs are now getting paid more, but usually don't. Linebackers haven't really been paid much, and offensive linemen, unless you're a tackle, you don't get paid much. So,
all right, so here's some of the deal. So what are the players getting? So I'm reading this off of ESPN. For starters, more money in form of higher share of league revenue beginning of 2021. This year's players will get 47% of all leagues' revenue, in keeping with their number of from the current CBA. The expansion of the postseason by 2 teams will generate an estimated $150 million, according to the NFLPA memo. And 47% of that is $70.5 million. So that will be an additional revenue going to the players that they wouldn't have received without the playoff expansion. So now you're seeing the players are going to make $70 more million if they make the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying that each game they are going to have to go through the playoffs all the way to the Super Bowl. If they get to the Super Bowl, there's a possibility that the players could make $70.5 million every single year. Mm-hmm. Now you look at the 47% revenue estimated opportunity for them to make in year number 1 in 2021. That is an enormous amount. Because if you think, and I know a lot of people throw this off and they look at it, well, what do these players need money? First of all, the NFL, there's no guaranteed money. They get a guaranteed signing bonus. That's what they get. So let's say Ezekiel Elliott got what, $65, $67 million contract. I don't know. Over 5 years. He had an estimate of $40-something million guaranteed. So that is his money. $40-something million is guaranteed to go to him. Now they can absolutely drop his contract after 2 or 3 years and not have to pay him the rest of the money. It's not like the NBA. It's not like the major leagues. It's not like that. That's guaranteed money. Even the NHL, it's guaranteed money. The NFL, there is no guarantees that if you get a $110, $120 million contract like Aaron Donald, you're going to get all that money. Now, he might possibly, because he got it in the prime of his career, and he's one of the best pass rushers we've seen in a very, very long time. But a lot of people are not fortunate, a.k.a. Muhammad Wilkerson from the New York Jets. He got an $86 million contract from the New York Jets, which was a $38 million signing bonus. That's all he got from the Jets. Because after 2.5 years, the Jets dropped him.
Yeah, he was too injury prone, and
but that has nothing to do with it.
Even one of the years he was.
That has nothing to do with it. There is no guarantees with the NFL. What this does now for the players, if they make the playoffs, they have an opportunity to make extra money. This extra game that they're going to add on to the schedule, they're going to make a significant extra amount of money that these players from the Players Union are actually going to split into their contracts. That is a lot of money because that is guaranteed money.
And now you're talking about adding a 7th playoff team. That's almost half the conference now. 7 out of 16 teams would make the playoffs. That's going to increase revenue for each round's games and overall players. And if it is, like you were saying, more depth-oriented now with good backup quarterbacks, good backup pass rushers, more than you see that would start on other teams, that revenue is going to flow a lot.
Listen to this also. Starting in 2021, the players will get at least 48% of the league's revenue, and that would figure could get higher depending on how the league does in negotiations to the new TV deals. Once the league moves to 17 games a season, the player's share of revenue includes a media kicker, which constitutes an additional share of revenue based on the size of the TV contracts. According to the NFLPA memo, if the league's TV revenue increases by 60%, the player's share of revenue increases to 48.5%, which is a lot. 0.5% is a lot of money. That shares can climb as high as 48.8% if the league's TV revenues increase by 120% or more. And it cannot be reduced via stadium credits, meaning that any money for the owners take off the top of the revenue pile for the stadium construction or renovations cannot push the player's share of revenue below 48%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or whatever the media kicker brings it to during the life of the deal, which is an 11-year deal.
That changes a lot, though, because if teams do end up moving or players end up moving and as a result of expansion, that'll make a difference in terms of them being able to keep their money and not have it be relied upon in terms of what the stadium has. So that's a very interesting thing, especially if they do expand internationally, too.
Which players will benefit from most of the new system? Here we go. They explain why some different players, like the quarterback, will make more money. Now, here it is. It seems lower earning players, roughly 60% of the NFL players, operate on minimum salary deals, will get the most significant bumps in pay, at least right at the beginning. Minimum salaries are increasing by around 20% immediately. A player with less than 1 year of the NFL experience is set to earn $510,000 this year under the current deal. That number rises to $610,000 in 2020, and if the new deal is signed, and the minimum salary for players with less than 1 year of experience rises incredibly throughout the deal, reaching almost $1 million by 2030.
All right,
which is a significant amount. That's almost 500 and some thousand dollars that a new player will make off this new deal. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, and it's going to be very widespread considering the depth of rosters now. I don't think they said anything about expanding the total rosters, but I know there's been talks of that in the past too. So that could be the next step, and if that's the case, that's even more money.
What about existing contracts that run into the season could expand to 70 games? Will those be adjusted? Which is very, very interesting. That's a good question.
That is a good question.
And the answer is yes, it does. It expands. Any player who is under the contract when the new CBA is signed and remains on the contract in a year in which the league plays 17 games will receive a bonus of 1/17th of his salary if he's on the roster on the date of the 17th game.
Does he have to play the 17th game?
No, as long as he's on the roster.
Okay.
As long as he's on the roster, which is so interesting. And that's where people don't understand. Why did the players agree to this deal? Because a lot of these younger players that don't get a chance to make that money until 5 years into their contract are going to have an opportunity to make close to $1 million if they're drafted in the 5th or 4th round.
Right, or they bump around different teams and can't find a full-time team or full-time position, really. If you're one of those hybrid guys, it's going to work out well. And the way the league is going, those positions are prioritized too, the hybrids that could do a lot of different things. So that can end up making a difference for those bargain deals that you could end up getting. And the bargain deals for the players will be even more too.
And here's another thing. Do the players now with the new contract, CBA contract, get guaranteed contracts? The answer is no. As we've been trying to explain for years now, the CBA isn't the place to secure those. NBA and Major League players were able to guarantee contracts to their players and their sports because they insist on them individually in contract negotiations with teams throughout the years. If the NFL players want guaranteed contracts, that's what they'd have to do. There is one change in the new CBA that could help. However, for years, teams have cited the fully funded rule as the reason they couldn't guarantee large sums of money in contracts. That rule, which dates to a wobbly early days of the league when there was some doubt about teams' ability to be reliable to pay their players, requires a team to hold an escrow, an amount of money equivalent to the amount of guaranteed money, minus a $2 million deductible in a player's contract. So when Kirk Cousins signed for 3 years, $84 million fully guaranteed for 2 years ago, the Vikings had to put $82 million into escrow account that guarantees that he will get his money. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. Now, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they had to put the money in escrow to protect that money or save that money for Kirk Cousins, because that was guaranteed money they had to give him. NFL contracts, which everybody knows, are not guaranteed contracts. They're not. They're not. Now, does this CBA help the player? I think this helps the players in so many ways more than the owners.
Right. I think if there were guaranteed contracts in the NFL, then you wouldn't see the widespread of all the players getting paid more. We were talking about earlier the 5th round, 6th round picks that are now going to get paid a lot more than they were, probably double or triple the amount. That wouldn't happen if there was guaranteed money for other players, other star players, especially the quarterbacks.
How about expanding rosters? Now, we were talking about trying to figure a way how to get rid of special teams. Well, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen for the next 10 or 11 years because, yes, more jobs will be available now with this with this CBA because of the money that is going to be gradually grown by the new TV deals that they're going to get. That's another way the players benefit. The game day active roster will increase 46 to 48 players. Although one of the extra players must be an offensive lineman, which will give teams more flexibility to have 3 extra linemen. Practice squads will expand from 10 players to 12 in 2020. And 2021 and to 14 starting in 2022. Practice squad salaries who also are going up the minimum salary to $8,000 per week in the current CBA. And it will rise to $11,500 by 2022. That's $11,000 a week for practice players to actually practice on the squad. They're making $11,000
now. The rules for the practice squad still is the same, where if you could poach somebody off somebody else's practice squad and make
Here's
the active
another
roster.
kicker. Here's another kicker. By 2022, and those players will be eligible for a 401k and tuition assistant benefits.
Wow, that's interesting.
So that's a kicker. That means they can actually go to school. These kids that are practicing on these NFL teams have an opportunity to actually go back to school, and they're going to help them get their college education.
Wow, that's interesting, though, because that'll help if a person declares and then they end up not being ready, and they end up obviously not making the active roster. They go right to a practice squad. They're not going to lose that extra 2 years or whatever they would have had to have eligibility if they stayed another year and tried to improve their stock. That's a very big benefit.
So that's practically the new CBA, and that's the deal. There's a lot more invested into this deal for the players, but those are the most important things that we complain about and why the players don't get the opportunity that Major League players do and NBA players do, because they get guaranteed money. But some of this deal absolutely benefits the player. Now, how does this benefit the league, and how does this benefit the ownership? Well, just look at the numbers. The owners make... If the players are getting 48.8% after 2022, the owners are making the rest of that money. That's an extra 2 or 3% the owners are making. You do the math on that. That's 50, 60 extra $1 million for these owners to make every single year, maybe even more than that. Now, do these owners need it? These are multi-billionaires. They don't need the money. But the players agree to it because they're going to see more money. What scares me if I was a player is, one, some of these players can't stay healthy. They can't even stay healthy for a 16-game season. How the hell are they going to stay healthy for a 17-game season? This is going to actually change the league strategically because now you're going to have to start drafting properly. Even more now than they ever have, because these backup players are going to have to play a significant amount of time as the season progresses, because even if their players are healthy, they're going to want to protect them for the playoffs. Now that you're implicating another 2 teams to make the playoffs.
Right, and you're seeing it now, the way the league's evolved. The Niners had that 3-man backfield that worked. The Chiefs had all those receivers. Those are the 2 teams in the Super Bowl. But plenty of teams were doing it where they were rotating guys so much. And you're going to see that more on defense, too. Linebackers, corners. You're going to see that a lot more to protect them as well because they've also been injury-prone positions. So they're going to have to watch for that. And load management is going to be key, especially if you already clinched something. Load management is going to be key. And with more playoff spots, you're going to see more of that. Teams clinching earlier as a result.
631-965-4990. When we come back, we're going to get to NFL free agency. It has been a crazy weekend and a crazy day. So many trades to talk about that could change the league right in front of our eyes. It really could. Some great defensive players, offensive linemen are moving to different teams. A guy that I wanted for the New York Jets just signed with the Browns. We will get into that when we come back. And a big name. Yes, 2 big names were traded today. When we come back, we will get into NFL free agency here on Down to the Wire.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Attention, fantasy sports fans. Does it strike you as odd that the popularity of fantasy sports continues to grow, but the game itself never seems to change? Drafting players to be a part of your fantasy team is cool, but are you looking for something new? If you're a sports fan and you actively look for new ways to have fun and compete while watching sports, you gotta check out StatementGames.com. That's StatementGames.com. Statement Games is a new, simple, yet innovative form of sports gaming that is changing the way thousands of fans view sporting events. With Statement Games, you select player and game props or statements to compete in tournaments for prizes. Sign up for free using your Google or Facebook account. No credit card or debit card information is required. Try StatementGames.com today and watch how we take fantasy sports to the next level.
StatementGames.com. That's StatementGames.com.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And Speedy makes another mistake, ladies and gentlemen. You and I having a time of my life. Oh, our producers dancing away, guys. Our producers, Evan and Austin. I caught them dancing together over the weekend, and I had to take the picture. So there we go. The Dancing Queens. 631-965-4990 is the number. Again, the number is 631-965-4990. This is Down to the Wire. We are live every Monday and Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at night Eastern Time here in New York, Long Island. Yes. Coronavirus is taking over practically everything that we are doing in sports and really life. They're shutting down diners. They're shutting down department stores. The malls are shutting down certain stores because they're not going to make any money because nobody wants to go in there because they're afraid they're going to get the coronavirus. So it's a crazy time right now living here in the United States and really New York State. I mean, as a whole, you can't even go into the city at 12 midnight. They close off the bridges. You can't go into Long Island if you're in the city.
Wow.
So they're trying to absolutely try to kill off this coronavirus. I know a lot of people are taking this personally badly, and I understand. I understand now in the country. Anyways, I see that we're having problems over there on the stream right over there, Speedy. So,
jeez.
Yeah, so we'll wait until that comes back. But some of the free agents that were picked up so far, and some of the free agents that were not picked up yet, and I want to fix up the stream, so I'm going to let you speak. Give me the thing. You should be giving that to me anyways.
And he signed with the Cleveland Browns on a 3-year, $42 million deal, which is interesting for a player that young, only wanting 3 years. You would think especially for an offensive lineman, you would think that it would demand more money if you're going to try to demand more years, but $42 million, $14 million a year, I guess it's reasonable for him, but it's just still apparently not the case. So Conklin to the Browns, 3 years, $42 million, $28 million were guaranteed of that deal so far. So that was one that happened today. There were two big trades that happened today as well. Do you want to get into those too, or you want me to get into those too?
Go ahead,
stick
go.
to the free agents. So this was very out of the blue. DeAndre Hopkins was traded to the Arizona Cardinals for a 4th second-round pick and David Johnson. David Johnson, who has a big running back contract. I think the 3rd highest paid running back in the league right now behind Todd Gurley and Zeke. So he goes in that trade to Houston.
I don't understand that trade.
Which I don't think anyone understands that trade if you look at it. Houston, again, they have traded so much as it is already. Dealing for draft picks for Laramie Tunsil, trading away Clowney and really getting nothing back from the Seahawks the way they did. So it was they've been operating without a GM, a real GM.
Well, they have a GM. They have a GM.
Well,
they
a real
O'Brien.
GM.
They have O'Brien.
He's a
running,
coach.
Yeah, he's running the organization now, which I think is, as you know, the only coach we've seen over the years that has taken over a team as the coach and as the GM, and that was successful in the NFL, is Bill Belichick. Besides him, tell me a GM and coach that's taken over a team, a.k.a. Adam Gase, that was doing it for the Jets for a little while before Joe Douglas came in. Tell me one that's been successful.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think Bill O'Brien necessarily deserves that kind of power right now. He's been a very average head coach in his, 6 years with the Texans. So I don't understand that at all. And then the other big trade, DeForest Buckner to the Colts for the number 13 overall pick, the Colts' only first-round pick. I love this trade for both teams. I think it's great. Indianapolis gets a big defensive lineman they've needed for a while, and the Niners can get a first-round pick to help out other positions. As great of a player as Buckner is, they have a lot of offensive line or defensive linemen already. So you can up the receivers, up the corners with all the depth of those two positions in the draft. Get an interior offensive lineman maybe with your later pick, and you can take something bigger later. Maybe you could trade up. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe with this Garoppolo rumors, maybe it's a quarterback they like. I don't know.
What's going on with the 49ers? This is a team that was a Super Bowl contender, and some people said needed to make 1 or 2 moves in the offseason, and they would be a Super Bowl contender again this year. Now they trade off one of their best defensive linemen for practically nothing. I don't understand it. Some of these trades that we've seen so far, early in the season, early in the offseason, have not been good trades. Not for any of the organizations.
So you don't like this for the Niners?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Why? You liked it?
I don't mind it because I think they can improve at other positions. They have Bosa, D. Ford, Solomon Thomas. They have enough up front where I don't think they really need to worry about that. And Buckner would have wanted a lot of money. I have to look up what the contract he was given to by the Colts was, but he would have wanted a lot of money, and then obviously those guys are going to want to get paid eventually too. D. Ford already did get paid, and Bosa's going to get paid.
D. Ford got overpaid. He got
as
overpaid.
of right now, yes, because he was injury prone this year, but he's still a good pass rusher. So as a result, I think they could use that pick and help out another position. If they get a big name receiver, that could really boost that offense big time. They get a corner alongside Richard Sherman, which they were able to get. Again, they get some offensive line, even better offensive line. So there's a lot of different things they could do with that pick because there's a lot of depth in the draft where they have so much depth of the D-line. So I actually do like it for them. I like it more for the Colts, but I like it for the Niners too.
It's very, very interesting. And I know a lot of people can't wait until free agency absolutely opens up. I think it's Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday is the first time they can actually sign. I think it's Wednesday at 12.
Wednesday at 12 o'clock. And to me, as a fan, some of my teams, a.k.a. the New York Jets, or you're the Giants, this is not good. This is not a good sign for the New York Jets. The Jets wanted Conklin. He was their number one target. He didn't get such a big contract. He got a 3-year, $40-something million contract.
3-year, 42.
That's not a lot of money for an offensive lineman, a top offensive lineman. If you know offensive lineman, the kid who came from the Patriots last
3 so far. He struggled a little last year, the 2018 season, but that was really it. He's been very good beyond that. So it's surprising that he would have kind of not necessarily lowballed completely, but didn't get as much as he would have, especially for a younger player.
It's me off as a New York Jet fan, knowing that the Jets are they're going to be behind the 8 ball early this offseason, trying to get an offensive line or trying to build an offensive line in front of Sam Darnold. To me, this is bad news as a Jet fan, and really throughout the NFL, because now you're starting to hear players sign with other teams, or they're trying to make trades. Why didn't the Jets go after Hopkins? Why didn't the Giants go after Hopkins? This guy was available. What did the Texans get for Hopkins?
You had traded the best receiver in football for a guy that maybe could fit with Bill O'Brien, and now you're making the fragile Will Fuller and the very streaky Kenny Stills your best receiving options.
It's so... When you think about where the New York Jets are as an organization and what the Jets wanted to do this offseason and adding offensive line talent, there really isn't that much left. As we were talking about the Indianapolis Colts offensive lineman signed Costanzo. Costanzo, he signed back with Indianapolis. He was the second best offensive lineman available this offseason. And then Conklin, who was the number one target for practically everybody, he decides to go to the Browns. And the Browns, let's be honest, you don't know where their coaching is going to be. You don't know what this team is all about. You don't even know if Odell Beckham's going to be a part of the team, or half the players are going to be involved with the team. Now that you think you bring in Conklin, you're probably going to keep Odell Beckham. That's what I would think.
Interesting. You wonder if he took a pay cut maybe for them to keep Odell too.
I have no idea. But I will tell you this. Odell Beckham will be staying with the team. They're expecting to win again this year. They are. They had one of the best offensive linemen available, if not the best offensive lineman available. And now you're starting to build. You have 2 of the most talented offensive wide receivers in the league, in Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. And then you have the running game. You still have Kareem Hunt, and I do believe they're probably going to bring Kareem Hunt back, because I haven't heard anything that anybody was interested in Kareem Hunt. You can get him on the low. You could probably get him for $1.5 or $2 million a year. And you get one of the best running backs in the league for nothing.
See, that should have been something the Texans could have gambled on, rather than...
That's what I would say.
Rather than trying to deal your best receiver and get a running back that hasn't been good in 3 years.
Unless they think David Johnson's still a star, or he's still going to find a way, or maybe he fits O'Brien's offense better than maybe Hopkins did. I can't see it. Hopkins had a great season for the last 3 or 4 years under O'Brien, and he's been their only offensive talent besides Watson.
Right. But here's the thing. You could have gotten that without having to trade Hopkins either. The Cardinals are practically gifting David Johnson away. They were probably only going to get a 4th or 5th round pick for it. That's something you do in a heartbeat. You don't need to make all this deal all together. You put Johnson and Hopkins together, that'll help each other out in a sense, if David Johnson can get his 2015 and 2016 form back.
Hooper has a new team. He's playing for the Browns. And that's interesting.
Was a bizarre deal, too.
But here's the thing. You're adding another offensive weapon for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield now has not 1, but 2 great tight ends. He has 2 great wide receivers. He has 2 great running backs still on this roster. And then they're building, which their weakness last year was their offensive line. Oh, by the way, we added the best offensive line talent available in this offseason. Now they're starting to build. Now, their defense was not really that good last year. And I think that had a lot to do with Greg Williams going to the New York Jets. You can see the difference of that defense when Greg Williams went to the New York Jets. But this is still a very talented defensive team. They still have talent on that defensive line. Their secondary needs some work, and they added some secondary help in last year's draft. And they still have a lot of draft stock in this year's coming draft. So I don't trust what they're doing as far as their GM and their office as an organization. But this move for Conklin, I was very surprised when you just told me Conklin signed with the Browns, or he's starting with the Browns. Why Conklin picked them instead of some of the other teams, Super Bowl contending teams that he could have went to. They weren't the only team that was interested in Conklin. And I'm not talking about the Jets. There were other
Arizona probably should have been too.
Green Bay too. Green Bay was very interested in Conklin, I was reading. Also, there were other teams that probably would have been available to get him if he became available, or they offered him more money. So I'm very surprised that the Browns won that deal, and they got him on the cheap.
Well, what's interesting with the way the Browns have operated so far is they're purging some defensive assets, but they're really just loading up on offense, and maybe they're trusting whoever this new defensive coach is, or I guess their star players really just to go off to be able to do the rest. Now, it's interesting. If they were to have that kind of approach, I'm surprised they wouldn't have tried to hire a more defensive coach and try to trust the talent of your offense to go off and just hire a good offensive coordinator. Because you lost Christian Kirksey, a good linebacker. He signed with the Packers earlier today, 2 years, $16 million. Joe Schobert's still a free agent. And your interior defensive line is iffy, and you might still lose Myles Garrett, depending on what happens with him in terms of his suspension. So
here's another thing: the Bucs signed JPP, which is very, very weird. JPP hasn't
2 years,
played
27. Yep.
Yeah, he hasn't played in about a year and a half because of the car accident that he just had, which I think he broke his back or some part of his back, and they're bringing him back now. Obviously, they think that JPP has a lot left in his tank. And before he hurt himself, he had 13 and a half sacks. He was a Pro Bowl player that year. But you're bringing back a guy that you gave him a lot of money. You gave him, I think...
13 and a half per year. Yeah.
13 and a half per... I don't know what guaranteed money he's going to get out of that deal. He's probably going to get half of that guaranteed. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a player that hasn't been on the field for almost 2 years.
You wonder if that's something, too, where... they're trying to maybe do a bridge gap because the way the Bucs defense is structured, they're young in their secondary, so maybe they're trying to beef up the veterans in the front seven more than anything else. And you need the veteran presence with the 3-4 defense. Shaq Barrett, we'll see what we get again. They put the franchise tag on him. Will he have another great year in a row? You still got good linebacker talent. You still got a good nose tackle in Vita Vea. So it's definitely interesting the way they're going. But I think they just needed a veteran presence. Otherwise, their defense would have been all young all at once.
Well, here's a big deal. And I love this deal for the Dolphins. 3 years, $30 million for Eric Flowers.
And the Dolphins are back to being the Dolphins.
3 years, $30 million for Eric Flowers. This is the same Eric Flowers that played for the Giants?
Barely. Yeah, he had one season where he played well. That was it.
The same guy that played for the Redskins last year?
Who actually was decent with the Redskins last year. As much as it pains me to admit.
Eric Flowers just got a 3-year, $30 million contract from the Dolphins.
Just when we thought the Dolphins were trying to actually get young and rebuild properly, they go back to their old ways of overpaying random players.
It doesn't make any sense. To me, you look at this deal, and it scares me because they built, going into this year's draft, they traded away all their top players, their top young players to really go in hard in this year's draft. And they have a ton of draft picks this year.
And
next year.
How much would they have had to pay Laramie Tunsil if he had to sign right away? What, $3-4 million more? What would have been his market value? And then yet you pay Eric Flowers double digits per year and probably... almost half of that guaranteed.
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God.
None of it makes sense. And that's the Dolphins.
It's laughable.
Well, that's the problem with the AFC East. And it's laughable. And I know that's why Tom Brady really doesn't want to leave the AFC East. But I think he's on his way out of the AFC East.
You think he's still going to the Raiders?
I don't even know if it's the Raiders. I could see. I've been hearing the Bucs now. I've been hearing a lot with the Bucs. And the Bucs are willing to give him a significant contract. Up to about $32-33 million a year.
Wow.
So, and if the Bucs are trying to do that, obviously Bruce Arians is trying to win a championship now, not later. So, and maybe Tom Brady, especially in that division where he's going to have a chance. Now he's going to the NFC, so it's going to be completely different.
Harder.
It's going to be completely different, and I don't know if Tom is willing to go to a team where, when you look at the division, it's still a winnable division because you just don't know where that division is going to lie. There are good teams in that division. There's no question that there is, especially in the NFC. But Tom Brady is Tom Brady, and with the offensive players that they have around to his disposal, that could completely change everything for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
2 really good receivers, 2 really good tight ends. The question is, how will that offensive line fare up for Brady? Because it's good inside, but their tackles are very weak too. So that's another team that is going to have to search for an offensive lineman if they do want to get a older quarterback.
And they
like
probably
Brady.
will do that in a draft. They'll probably build around their offensive line in the draft. No, and especially if you know Tom Brady is going there. Now,
Well, if Tom Brady that goes there, I think there's no choice. You have to build through the offensive line in the draft. If it's a more mobile, even if it's a veteran quarterback, then you have a little more leeway to do it later in the draft or maybe some bargains in free agency.
this is a very, very interesting offseason. Phillip Rivers, I mean, the stories are coming out right now that Indianapolis is going to make a move and make an offer to him, which I'm not surprised. Indianapolis do not believe in Jacoby Brissett. I don't think me and you believe in Jacoby Brissett. Okay? So he got a lot of money last offseason because he had a great season the year before, and they thought that he was the quarterback that can hold the fort for at least 2 or 3 years before they draft a quarterback. And I believe Indianapolis will draft a quarterback.
Well, they traded the pick to do so they'd have to do it in the second round now.
Yeah, but to me, you're going to probably get a quality quarterback in the second round. There are some good quarterbacks, and just like they say, this is covered with great wide receivers and great corners and some really good offensive linemen that are going to be available, guards and interior linemen that are going to be available in the second and third round. The problem here is, I understand what you're saying. There might not be a Tua there, but who's to say that Indianapolis won't move up after moving out of the first round to move up to get a quarterback?
It usually is hard to do that because then
why they could get if they can get a pick at number 30 or number 29 to get a quarterback, they can absolutely do that.
Oh, you're trying to later the first
yes.
round. Okay,
and there'll be a quarterback available because even though it won't be one of the top 3 or top 4 quarterbacks,
yeah, they'd have to
available,
like a Jacob Eason then if they want a raw guy with a big arm, or Jake Fromm if they want a more.
I like Jake Fromm.
If they want a more, he's not as big of an arm, but he has good accuracy on simple throws. He's a smart guy. If you want a quarterback like that, I'm not really sure what they have in mind. But if that would be the case, that would be the only chances they would have because Jordan Love will be gone by a late first round because he had a great combine. So he's going to probably go in the top 15 now. And then the other 3 are definitely going to go
never
top
know. 10. You never know about the NFL draft. 965-4990. Again, the number is 631-965-4990. We are going to have debate hour in the last half an hour of the show. When we come back, we're going to get into some NBA and Major League conversation here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think of 935-3900 or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. What you can or can't do, you really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Speedy with his 80s music. 631-965-4990. Just can't get enough. If you know this song, I haven't heard this song in a very, very long time. This track is an old track from the 80s. I think this was 88.
I think you're right.
It was 1988 when this song came out. This track came out. I remember because I was driving to Florida and my father actually took me and my family to Florida, and he used to play all of these different 80 tracks, and I was like, at the time, I didn't know what good music was, so I hated this stuff. But now I'm a big 80s fan. I'm a huge 80s baby, so there you go. As you know, our number again is 631-965-4990. Remember, you can go to our website at worldwidesportsradio.com and search us. Yes, search us on all our social media, guys. If you're not, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to Instagram. Those are the main ones. Just like it, search us, follow us, so you see all the things that we're going to post. And this summer, we're going to be doing a lot of live shows in different spots. So I want everybody, we have a lot of big news coming up very, very in the near future, where a lot of people are going to be very excited because we are actually going to have something coming up that's going to change everything for us. So stay tuned for that. In the next week or two, I will give you all that information. Speedy, before we get into baseball, and I definitely want to talk about this situation with baseball being pushed off all the way to May, which is ridiculous. And you're going to play 162 games. When is the season going to end?
You're going to play baseball in the winter.
And the NBA won't be done until the winter practically.
So this year is going to feature baseball in the winter and hockey in the summer.
It's crazy. It really is. It's crazy. We're going to be going to the NHL Stanley Cup Finals in July. It's crazy. It's going to be so hot, and wherever it is, hopefully it's in Canada, so it's in maybe. Well, I don't want to give the Canadians any opportunity to win a championship, but I It could happen anywhere. We hope that it will be in a cold place, in a cold climate, because then it's not hockey without being in the cold weather.
Plus the ice conditions. Yeah, that could be very
Speaking of
slushy.
hockey, we're watching some movie with hockey over there. I don't know what that is, but this has got to be, I forget what this movie is called. Is this Lethal Weapon? I think this is Lethal Weapon 4.
Oh, wow.
I think this is Lethal Weapon 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Nope.
No, Sudden Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme. When he's a security guard, and he's a security guard in the stadium, and it's Pittsburgh versus the Blackhawks. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was ESPN night. It was Wednesday night hockey or something like that. Remember that? Remember that? I don't think you were alive when that was going on.
No, but I know it existed at one point.
Yes,
in the 90s.
ESPN. But the Olympics, like you were saying.
Yeah, the Olympics actually came out, not with the announcement that they were canceling everything, like every other sport. They have not said that yet, but there is an announcement that one of the biggest training facilities, I believe it was in Colorado Springs, was being shut down, which is a huge athlete base for the Olympics. The boxing athletes, the U.S. wrestling team trained there. The swimming trained there. There's a lot of big sports that ended up training there. So that'll be interesting to see. Obviously, there's other facilities that are across the country still, but don't be surprised if they start getting shut down too. But this was the biggest one. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the athletes. Do you think there would be any rust potentially from those sports based on the training facilities having to improvise from that?
I don't think so. I think these guys are and these ladies are training year in and year out for 4 years before the Olympics. So even though you're going to take things out where they're not going to be able to train as hard as they usually do, these women and these men are training year in and year out practically their whole lives. Some of these kids, especially when you talk about the Winter Olympics, these figure skaters, some of these figure skaters are 14 years old, 15 years old, skating in the Olympics against soon-to-be professional skaters. And then if you look at the gymnasts, some of these gymnasts are like 13 years old, 14 years old. Mm-hmm. And they're playing or they're sponsoring their country. Yeah. They're training for their country. I'm not training. They're there for their country.
Right.
So again, and how about this? How Michael Phelps, when he first swam for Team USA, I think he was 17 or 16 years old when he first swam for Team USA. He was a kid. He was a baby. And it took him a little while to figure things out. He still won, I think, a silver medal or two silver medals
2000,
when he was 16 years old. Right. So everybody knew he was going to be a superstar swimmer. So does it hurt some of these athletes? I do not believe it's going to hurt any of these athletes. I really don't. Even changing these facilities.
Now, I think in terms of staying in physical shape, I don't think it'll hurt them either because, again, there are other ways to train. But if there's a sport that's very, very, I guess, technique-based more than anything else, a lot of the track events, particular swimming events that have tag teams, track events that have tag teams, anything like that, and something like gymnastics, which is very, very specific.
These track and field cross-country runners, Speedy, are training every 365 days a year, practically their whole lives. In high school, in junior high, I ran cross country and I ran track. I was a 200-meter hurdles runner. I ran the relays. I was a great runner. I was an all-state runner. And I remember all the different competitions that were, and they're compacted. You train really, really, really hard year in and year out before the spring track and field tournaments and stuff like that. So, because you're running year in and year out. There's cross country in the wintertime, and then there's spring track and field, and there's fall track and field. So, I think these kids and some of these athletes are training year in and year out. I don't think it makes a difference if they're changing.
So you don't think it would hurt in terms of the technique? Just certain sports. I'm not saying every sport.
I don't know. I don't play all those sports, but in my honest opinion, if nobody's complaining and you don't see any of the athletes complaining, why are you complaining?
Well, you're right. I'm just saying in terms of the recency of when it'll happen, when the top training was, because you're right. They do train for all the time that they're not in the Olympics or in World Championship events. But I do think not being used to it in that current moment in terms of the way they train, having to alter it, could lead to a little difference. And especially for individual events where you might only get one chance too.
I want to get into baseball, and this really irks me. And I'm not a big fan of the commissioner anymore, as everybody knows. I've said my piece about the commissioner on Rob Manfred and what he did with the Astros, and to me, it's a complete mockery.
Are there any
for
good
baseball.
commissioners left?
Well, there is. I think Adam Silver is the best commissioner in all of sports.
Well, he's the last one left.
And I'm telling you right now, Rob Manfred, especially what he has done for baseball, and really has ruined going into the season this year, especially the Astros. They're not losing a trophy. None of their players are suspended. They fired their coach and they fired their GM. Ooh, big whoop. They still have all their players going into the season, even though Justin Verlander will not be starting for the first 3 or 4 weeks because of a lat pull.
He might now.
Well, he might start because it's not going to start until mid-May.
Right.
I understand this whole coronavirus, and I understand that it's not about playing. It's not inside, it's outside. Most of these games are outside, except maybe the Blue Jays and certain teams. Seattle. Is it Seattle? Yeah, Seattle.
Seattle's inside. Yeah, they got a retractable roof. The Diamondbacks have a run.
There's a couple of teams that play inside. Besides that, it's all outside. Now, I do believe, and I'll say this again for the major leagues, the NBA and the NHL, you can bring your sports back. What I would do is, now that you have the corona test, do the test outside the stadium. So now all these fans can know if they have the coronavirus, or if they have the flu or the coronavirus, they can go and get some help instead of them just expecting or thinking that they don't have it or they're not a carrier. I think you should have in every single terminal a doctor or a nurse or a medical assistant giving out these tests before they go into the game. And if they're healthy, you put them in. They're more than welcome to go and use their ticket. If not, you can get a return on your ticket. That's what I think these March Madness should have done.
Yeah.
Why would you cancel March Madness, the biggest sports month of the year?
That was so easy to move, and yet they screwed everything up just because they had other sports were banned too, but just because they had to deal with all the schools and all the conferences. That was so easy to move just because it's a college league where you could do it after the academic year, and those players could actually focus a lot more.
It would bother me very, very much knowing that now the season, you're not going to see a basketball season until June. So not even May. They're saying that baseball will start sometime in mid-May. So they're saying basketball and hockey won't probably start until June. That's after baseball.
Well, hockey said they were going to check for 2 months. So I guess in the middle of May, what the status update?
It'll be June, trust me.
But yeah, you're right. They might not reschedule things until June.
It will be June.
They have to figure out how those regular season games are going to work. Because Gary Bettman did say that he wants the regular season to still continue. They're not just going to start the playoffs right away.
I think they should. I really do.
So you think they should just go in with the 8 that are there?
The 8 that are there. And unfortunately, teams like the Rangers and the Islanders are going to fall out. But again, there's always next year. And to me, this is a season that has been all over the place for both teams, the Islanders and the Rangers. In the beginning of the season, the Islanders were unbelievable. They
had that 17-game win streak or
15-game winning streak, and then all of a sudden they go on this losing streak, and they haven't won since. I mean, the Islanders haven't played good hockey, and the Rangers have been very, very hot with a hot goaltender and Panarin, who's had an MVP season. It's been incredible for the Rangers, but again, they're not winning anything, and neither are the Islanders. They don't have the defense. The Rangers and the Islanders don't have the offense. Mm-hmm. But going back to baseball, this throws me off right now because most of the games are outside. You can absolutely tell the fans that they cannot go to the first, 50 games or something like that. Try to until the coronavirus is gone completely. Play the games, which they've done plenty of times.
Right.
Play the games without any fans.
Plus, a lot of games at the beginning of the season don't have a lot of fans anyway, so that makes sense to do it just as that, especially since it's still right before the summer, too. If they do start it in May, that's still the spring. A lot of baseball stadiums fill up in the summer when it's a lot warmer, and they're trying to enjoy the game a lot more in the temperature. So I think in that case, they definitely can experiment with something like that. Just do it for a month and see how it works.
And I think that's what baseball should be doing. I do not think baseball should be canceling the season all the way till May. It's out. Most of the games are outside. Tell the fans, whoever has season tickets, that you cannot You're not going to be able to go to games until the 30th or 40th game of the season. Let the players, you could still put it on TV, just like the UFC is doing right now. You watch what the UFC did this weekend. There was no spectators watching except the ones that are watching it on TV.
Right.
There were just coaches there, and the UFC is doing that. And they might be doing that with Ferguson and Khabib because state of emergency or country, what Donald Trump has said, he has said that there is no way more than 50 people should be in a certain activity or spot
for 6 to 8 weeks.
For 6 to 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. So
now that fight is within that range?
No, April 18th.
Okay, yeah, that is 6 to 8 weeks. So yeah, that would still be in that range.
So I don't know what the UFC is going to do with this, and they could cancel this, which could be, to me, another year and another chance to see Ferguson and Khabib fight again. This would be the fourth time that these two fighters were expected to fight, and the fight was canceled for dehydrating or hurting himself, Khabib, and it was all Khabib. And now you have the coronavirus that they might not be able to fight.
Now you think, I don't know UFC well, so do you think that'll be easier to reschedule than what these team leagues have to?
I don't think, because they could have rescheduled Khabib and Ferguson years and years ago when they were supposed to fight because of dehydration, and they never did. They never fought. So now, when you look at the big picture and you look at where the UFC is doing the right thing right now. They're having their fights. They don't want to lose their contract with ESPN, and they want to get paid. They want to get paid. So what is the UFC doing? They move the fights to their particular spot in Vegas, where there doesn't have to be any spectators. They can have their fight still and still have it on TV, on national TV, so people can watch the fights. And I think the same thing with all these sports. March Madness, they should have done that.
Yeah, they can do it in June very easily. It's not hard.
They should have done that. And baseball, I disagree with Rob Manfred on this deal. Disagree with this. You're going to push it all the way to May. Now, if you're going to push it off, all right, push it into the middle of April. I mean, baseball usually started in April 9th, April 10th. Why not start it April 20th, April 21st? You could start it. It's 6 to 8 weeks. It's outside. You could do something with the fans or whatever, however way you want to do this. Maybe the first 10 or 12 games, the fans cannot go to the games. And then you figure it out. If the coronavirus is slowly dying down, then you let the fans do what they're paying to do and go to the games.
Right.
But I just disagree with what Rob Manfred is doing. And again, Rob Manfred will become he's going to, I think he has 4 more years left on his contract. Yep. And he will be a free agent again. The new CBA will come out, and they're going to have to offer him. And it's not going to be like Bud Selig. It's not going to be like it, because Bud Selig, he was very connected with all the owners for all those years. He was connected with the Will Ponds and all the big owners of the major leagues. This guy, Rob Manfred, he's been under Selig all these years as a young lawyer and working as an assistant commissioner of the league. And the owners like this guy. But after with the Houston Astros and how he handled the Houston Astros, and now this particular thing, I don't think this is handled right.
Yeah, a lot of owners especially are going to turn back on him because of that. We're already seeing players do it, which, again, that's going to be a big sway into it too. For a guy that wants to connect with the players, especially as a younger commissioner, he wants to be able to make the best for his players, and it seems like he wants to do that. They're tending to the way the game is, but again, definitely with this Astros thing, if they don't investigate that and any other sign stealing cases across the league, they're not going to be voted well. So he could be gone, resigned within maybe 2 years.
I don't think he's going to resign.
Not him, maybe forced out or something.
I don't think he'll be forced out either. I think when the CBA, when his contract is done in 4 years, I don't see the owners bringing him back. I just don't. This was a terrible, terrible thing for his career. Terrible thing. The fact that he did nothing to the Astros. He did nothing. The owner of the Astros fired the GM and he fired the coach. He fired the whole team except the players. None of the players were suspended. Not one of them. Bregman, not suspended. Altuve, not suspended. None of them were suspended. Gurriel, none of them. Now, these were the same players that were a part. They were a part of this scheme, this cheating. Now, all of a sudden, the commissioner doesn't want to do anything because he doesn't feel that he has to. And the same thing with this. Baseball is considered an outside sport. They're worried about Corona being an inside, with breathing and the fact that you can't be within 5 feet of somebody. If you're outside, it keeps
spreading.
It won't spread
as
much.
Right, it'll spread more widespread, and it'll go outside the stadium too, the way it is, especially in a bigger city.
And even if they pushed it off to April, I don't think Corona will be as bad by then. I think in the next 3 or 4 weeks, this will all be completely obsolete.
Now, what's interesting, because you brought up the Astros thing again, is would this stoppage in play for MLB allow them to investigate more in terms of tracking down?
Here's what they need to investigate: the Boston Red Sox.
That too.
That's
who
who they should be investigating.
But again, that because the stadiums will be empty, because the stadiums will probably be ultra cleaned, that'll allow them to, if anything looks suspicious within the rooms that they're in, if they weren't emptied out already, we don't know, but they could investigate that a lot more. And obviously, if they're not there, that means they're hiding evidence, and maybe they do track it a lot more and resume this investigation. So maybe some players do get suspended as a result, and the Red Sox maybe get hit like they should.
Oh, they're going to get hit because it's not over for the Red Sox, and I'm sure they're still investigating. And I don't think we're going to hear anything with the Red Sox until next offseason, because the Astros were the center of attention this offseason, and believe me, next offseason it will be about the Red Sox. That's why Alex Cora got fired. Alex Cora was a part of the Astros situation, but he didn't get fired only for that. He got fired practically because of the whole situation with the Red Sox and things coming out by the league. The Red Sox were doing the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's the only one right now mutual to both teams. There's no players that have been mutual to both teams yet, and as of right now, no executives have been mutual to both teams. He's the only link right now between both. Now, whether the Red Sox were doing it already and maybe that they hired him because of that, I don't know. But the Astros definitely were doing it as a maybe 2-year thing. That kind of thing happens in advance, and then obviously it was executed in 2017 and then continued on.
631-965-4990. When we come back, Debate Hour here at the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy.
Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time. It's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs. So I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one. Even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Tell the world I see with an emoji.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. Feedthepig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman! Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? When a tornado is tearing through town? Or a hurricane strikes? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila,
She has split ends.
B. Console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C. Take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D. Help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving. Driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
I want to smack Speedy in the head, give him a swirly in the bowl. He's an idiot, but he knows nothing, but I can't sing a song all night long. I can't sing. 631-965-4990. I cannot sing, guys. Don't ask me to sing. I am a terrible singer. Don't quote me on it. As you know, you can follow us by going to our website at worldwidesportsradio.com. I am not a singer. Speedy is a better singer than me, and I will
That
not
doesn't
sing.
say much. I'm not a singer either.
No, you're better than me, that's for sure. Anyways, as you guys know, we do this every Monday and Tuesday, down to the wire, and this is Debate Hour.
This is the Debate Hour. And now in this corner, your host, Errol Mars. And in this corner, who gives a shit? Round one.
All right, Speedy, give it to me.
Round one. So you could pick anybody for this. I'll let you look at the list I have while
I don't need a list.
Okay. Which player that got franchise tagged recently has the best chance of being traded from the team they got franchise tagged on? Again, you could pick anybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I will go first. And I hinted at it earlier for the Jets to explore this option. I'm going to take Brandon Scherf of the Washington Redskins. I think this Redskins team is trying to head into a kind of a rebuilding mode, new culture, Ron Rivera being there. He's trying to change the style of team it is, and it's obvious that Trent Williams wants out. And I think when you look at it, they could package these two guys together. Offensive line is a unit that has to gel together. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest team unit in terms of a unit of multiple players in football. You really have to have guys block simultaneously, block different ways, especially with the way the Redskins have always done it. They've always had good technique blocking, guys that can move around, and both Williams and Scherf were like that. So if they trade Trent Williams, which they have to at this point. He doesn't want to play for the Redskins, so they have to try to get whatever they can out of it. So maybe
they're not going to get much.
Right. So maybe including somebody like Scherf in the deal, try to get some draft capital to rebuild, could end up helping that kind of team. They need a lot on offense already, so I mean, it's not like he's your best player in your offense and it's a big drop off. That's really the case right now. It's not like he's not going to help too much because they really have nothing to look at besides Terry McLaurin. Tight ends are all banged up and injury prone. Running backs are always hurt on that team, and you don't know if Dwayne Haskins can make a leap to be able to do that. So might as well try to gamble. You're not going to get a first round pick probably for an interior offensive lineman, but you might get a second, and that could help you rebuild. So I think they should explore that, and I think it's very likely with the state the Redskins are in.
AJ Green, he got franchised the other day, and $17.865 million, and I understand Burrows wants to play with him, but he wants out. He doesn't want to play for the Bengals. And the team that I would send him to is a team wherever Tom Brady goes to. If Tom Brady goes to Vegas, you trade him. Vegas would be the place for him. If he goes to New England, he stays with New England. AJ Green would be perfect for New England, especially a high-flying guy that can go down the field and catch practically a bomb down the field. He's a great route runner. He's a guy that can do everything on the field. He hasn't been on the field for about a year and a half, but this is still a guy that could be a dominant wide receiver in this league. He's 31, 32 years old.
31 years old, yeah.
And I still think he has a lot of tread left. Not because of his legs, but because of his hands. He has one of the best hands in the NFL. When you talk about Larry Fitzgerald, how many times have you seen AJ Green drop a football? Right. Very rare. Mm-hmm. AJ Green has great hands. I don't think you can get old and not be able to catch a ball.
Yeah, I think when healthy, he's still a top 10 receiver.
I still think he can run. You could put him in a slot. You could put him on the outside. You could put him anywhere. You kind of put him together with Tom Brady or one of these top, even Derek Carr right now in Vegas. Mm-hmm. He could be great with Derek Carr. Derek Carr doesn't have a big-time wide receiver on that team right now. Amari Cooper's no longer there, and I didn't think Amari Cooper's a big-time wide receiver anyway.
He was good the first 2 years he was there, but really regressed that third year.
I would say AJ Green, because of his superstardom, and this guy's a Hall of Famer, and he still has a lot left. I think he has 2 or 3 good years left as a wide receiver in this league if he stays healthy. Not because of his legs, because of his hands, a.k.a. Larry Fitzgerald, who's about 36, 37 years old, and he's still playing in the NFL, and he still gets almost 1,000 yards because of his hands. Mm-hmm. AJ Green.
Alrighty, so round 2. Which current NFL running back is more comparable to the style of running of Curtis Martin? Le'Veon Bell ironically currently on the Jets, or Kareem Hunt. I'm going to take Kareem Hunt in this. Even though Le'Veon Bell is the better running back, I think Kareem Hunt's style is a little more like Curtis Martin. Le'Veon Bell's style is very unique, something you usually don't see. He's very patient with his running style. He'll do back cuts.
So is Curtis Martin.
Curtis Martin was too, no doubt about it. But I think Curtis Martin, in terms of his secondary moves, he liked to use them right away. And I think Kareem Hunt was very similar to that. When he started up with the Chiefs, he was really using those moves right away. He also was very good as a pass-catching back right away, as was Le'Veon Bell. But I think Le'Veon Bell, again, the opportunity was more there for him, whereas Kareem Hunt, they were covering him still on every play, where it was hard for him to be able to do that. I just think in terms of the way Curtis Martin ran, he ran very well-rounded, and you're right, he was a very patient runner. But again, his secondary moves were what got him there. Whereas Le'Veon Bell, I think it's more of his awareness, his vision, and again, him being able to make the right cut at the right time. Kareem Hunt, I'm not saying he's a more skilled running back, but I think he's more elusive, and I think that's what Curtis Martin really did a great job of making guys miss, too. So I really think between that and the pass-catching ability, the route-running ability of both of them, I'm going to say Kareem Hunt.
It's not even close. It's Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, who always wanted to play for the Jets. He grew up a Jets fan. Curtis Martin was his favorite player. Curtis Martin is from Pittsburgh. Same thing with Le'Veon Bell. He tried to predicate his game for what Curtis Martin was as an NFL running back. Now, yes, his style of running was a little bit different, but both of them saw the field exactly the same. Both of them like to go up the gut. They like to go up the middle. Curtis Martin was a running back that liked to power his way through the middle. That's what he did because of the great Jets offensive lines. Le'Veon Bell, watch him on Pittsburgh. He had great offensive lines, so he always ran up the gut. There were some particular times that he used the outside. They used him as a wide receiver. Curtis Martin, they never did that. But Curtis Martin did things. You saw that how they used the running back, how they maneuvered him in halfback plays up and inside the middle. That's what they did with Curtis Martin. The same thing with the Jets do with Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is, as much as you want to say he's what's the word? Finesse.
Issue.
He's a finesse running back. I could say the same thing about Curtis Martin. When he saw the hole, he ran through the hole. What does Le'Veon Bell do? He stops in the middle of the hole and runs through the hole and finds the hole with a burst of speed. Same thing with Curtis Martin. They're very similar in a lot of ways. Now, Curtis Martin, again, is more of a power back than Le'Veon Bell was. But Curtis Martin saw the field like Le'Veon Bell did. He would stop. I've seen him many, many times stop in the middle of the field, find a hole, and run through the hole. That's what he did. When Mawai was the center of the team, he waited for Mawai to open up the hole, and you see him slowly squeak right into the hole and just a burst of speed outside the hole. Same thing with Le'Veon Bell. So it is Le'Veon Bell.
Alrighty. Round 3, our last football one. Which player that was recently franchise tagged has a better chance of being the highest paid player at his position? Dak Prescott or Derrick Henry? So this is interesting because both teams now are in kind of a cap issue. The Titans gave Ryan Tannehill a ton of money, and Dallas, we've known they've been in cap issues for a while. I'm going to take Derrick Henry, though, just again with the recency. Recency matters in the NFL. It's just a trend. I know quarterbacks are trending in terms of you want to be higher paid than the next guy. It's the easy guy to pay, but recency bias also matters too. And Derrick Henry doing what he did this season, the leading rusher in the league, phenomenal in the playoffs, running the way he did against the Patriots and the Ravens, two very good defenses. That has to pay into that. And the Titans, they've always been a running back-oriented team, even back when they were the Houston Oilers. You look at Earl Campbell, you look at Eddie George, they had Chris Johnson for a while. They seem to always have good running backs, and they prioritize that. So I think they're going to continue to do that with Derrick Henry. I think that's more likely as a whole. Dallas and Dak Prescott, we've known for a while, they're never in the same place all the time, so I just don't trust it with them. So I'm going to say Derrick Henry.
I'm going to say Dak Prescott. He's the quarterback. And not because I think Derrick Henry isn't a better player than Dak Prescott, because he is at his position. It's because Dak Prescott plays a position that gets paid. And if Dak Prescott has another year that he had this year with this team, with a different coach, he's going to get that money. He's going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league. Not because he's the best quarterback in the league, it's because his contract is up and he's going to get offered that kind of money. He almost had 5,000 yards this year. He threw over 30 touchdowns. The guy was one of the most dominant quarterbacks in the league. Now, obviously, he plays in the NFC East. It's one of the worst divisions in all of football. No question that it is. But if you look at his numbers aren't that bad. Dak Prescott's As far as his passing rating, has been the best he ever had it. His quarterback rating. I mean, it just because of the position. That's the only reason why. Not that Derrick Henry is not going to get paid. I think he's going to get paid. I don't know if he's going to get Ezekiel Elliott kind of money. And Derrick Henry has only had one really, really good season, and that was this year. He hasn't been consistent like Ezekiel Elliott has. He hasn't been consistent like, not even Saquon. I wouldn't even put Saquon because he wasn't healthy this year. But Le'Veon Bell. I mean, you have to do it consistently. Derrick Henry has not done it consistently. He's been in the league for 4 years.
Now, granted, he platooned his first 2 years.
That's fine. Obviously, they didn't think that he was the better running back at the time. That's why they platooned him.
Well, DeMarco Murray also had 2 very good years, too.
That's fine. DeMarco Murray was also a guy that was on his last feet when he was drafted. They wouldn't have drafted Derrick Henry if they didn't think DeMarco Murray was falling apart or he wasn't the same running back that they brought in from the Cowboys. So again, I'm going to say Dak Prescott just because he's a quarterback, and quarterbacks are going to get paid. That's just a fact. And if Dak has another great season this year, he's going to get the money. And everybody that says he's not going to get $40 million, with the new CBA, he is going to get $40 million. Because the CBA tells you that he's going to get $40 million.
That'll be a very laughable contract when that comes out.
Probably would, but if he gets it, he's under McCarthy now. McCarthy might make him a better quarterback. Might give him more yards. He might fit the offense better. So I'm going to say Dak Prescott just because of the position that he plays.
All right, round 4, on to the NBA. Which current NBA player can be most compared to Kevin Garnett when their career is over? The Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo or Anthony Davis?
Go ahead, Speedy.
All right, I'm going to take Giannis in this one. I think this is an interesting question because the game's changed a lot. It's hard to duplicate what Kevin Garnett, the type of player he was. Not necessarily skill-wise, but in terms of the intimidation
He
factor.
was very skilled.
He was skilled. No, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying the skill sets
Career 21-point scorer,
No, the skill sets are very different is what I'm saying. I'm not saying one's a better player than the other because Kevin Garnett's definitely better than both of them right now. But in terms of the way they are, I'm going to take Giannis.
I don't think Kevin Garnett is better than both of them right now. I don't.
So a young Kevin Garnett, maybe at Giannis's age, Giannis was better, you think?
I think both of these
Anthony
guys,
Davis, whatever.
That's why I wanted to argue this, because I think both of them right now are better than Kevin Garnett was.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's fine. But I'm still going to take Giannis for the reasons of I think he's still similar in terms of the attacking the hoop, in terms of, again, his prowess on defense, and just in terms of the fire he brings to the team. He's a very passionate player. I don't really think Anthony Davis has been like that. He was like that in college, which was weird, but in New Orleans, he wasn't really like that. He wasn't really that fiery player. Now he's started to become that with the Lakers, obviously now playing with LeBron, but again, I think Giannis has been like that for a while, trying to prove himself, being an international player. I just think he plays with that kind of prowess a little more. Neither of them, I think, are really big trash talkers like Kevin Garnett was, but again, I don't think anyone is in today's NBA anymore, really. Anyway, so that's tough to compare, but I think in terms of the athleticism, in terms of the rebounding prowess, they're very similar, and I think Giannis, in terms of his athleticism, his fire, his speed, I think it's just a little more similar than Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, I think, is more of the traditional big man that's starting to evolve in other areas, learning to shoot, learning to pass, whereas Kevin Garnett, I think, is a little more than that.
Oh, it's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, as far as the defensive prowess. Now, I think Giannis is a great defensive player, but Anthony Davis predicates his defense, his game around his defense, then his offense. Now, they're both very good offensive players, and the way the league has completely changed, Kevin Garnett probably would have been a better offensive player. But just all-around prowess, I would say Anthony Davis, just because of his size and his ability to rebound, and they're both great rebounders, and they both understand how to use the backboard and how to use the rim to benefit them both. But I think Giannis, both those guys are not very good shooters. Either was Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett became a 15, 16-foot jump shooter later in his career. He was his game was inside and pretty much dominating inside. Same thing with Anthony Davis and Giannis. Both of them are very good inside. Both of them have problems shooting on the outside. I just think Anthony Davis is a better outside shooter than Giannis is. And that's why I think his game is translating into a Kevin Garnett style. And both of them are very good defensive players. Now, are they Kevin Garnett defensive players? They're not. Both of them are not. Kevin Garnett's one of the best defensive players ever to play the game. But if I were to compare their defensive skills to both and compare one from the other, I would take Anthony Davis's defensive skills over Giannis. Giannis more of an offensive player because Giannis is a better offensive player and he has a better offensive-minded game getting inside. He has more than 5 or 6 moves inside. I think Anthony Davis, he's got that baby hook. He can shoot. He can shoot on the outside. He's a better shooter than Giannis. So I would try to compare both of them. They're both very comparable to Kevin Garnett, more than Tim Duncan. But I would say Anthony Davis is more like Kevin Garnett than Giannis is.
That's interesting. All right. 2 for baseball. Round 5. Which ex-Yankee compares more to the greatness of Mickey Mantle? Mariano Rivera or Derek Jeter? All right, I'm going to take Mariano Rivera in this one. I think in terms of the postseason prowess, I think of both players. Not that Jeter wasn't a great postseason player, because he was, but in terms of the postseason player that he was and postseason player Mickey Mantle was, that has something to do with it. They were dominant for consistent periods of time. I think as a whole, Mariano Rivera being the best closer, Mickey Mantle being the best hitter, and innovating in a sense too. Mickey Mantle is one of the first guys that could be dominant as a switch hitter, and that really made him great. A lot of the switch hitters in previous eras of baseball were light hitters. They were stolen base guys, slap hitters. Mickey Mantle was a power hitter that was a great switch hitter too, which were hard to come by in today's game, and obviously, or in the game in that time. And obviously Mariano Rivera was one of the first few great closers, obviously the greatest closer of all time, entering an era where bullpens were really only prominent for about 10 or 15 years before that. And he really dominated the position. He dominated with one pitch, his cutter being just the nastiest pitch of all time. And Mickey Mantle, kind of the same thing. He could hit any spot in the strike zone. He could obviously switch hit and just be dominant throughout his whole career.
Oh, so. The Giants made a trade. I mean, they signed somebody.
Oh, what do we got?
Sources say the Giants signed cornerback Bradbury, agreeing to a $45 million deal.
How many years?
It doesn't say. $45 million deal.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that, though. He's a good young corner. He's improved each and every year. I like that.
3 years, $45 million.
All right, maybe slightly overpaid, but he's gradually improved every year and is still young, so I'll take it. All right, I was practically done anyway, so you go.
It's Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, because he was the captain of the team, so was Mickey Mantle. And Derek Jeter, what he's done in the playoffs was absolutely amazing. Derek Jeter is one of the best playoff hitters in Major League history. So was Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle, he was not only a power hitter, he hit for contact. The guy was a great defensive player, outfielder, center fielder, was one of the best defensive center fielders of his time. Unbelievable. Switch hitter. Now, Derek Jeter wasn't a switch hitter, but Derek Jeter did things and he made plays in the big part of the games that you expect a big superstar to do. Now, I'm not saying Mariano Rivera wasn't a great playoff player, because he was. He was a pitcher, and he was a relief pitcher. He only pitched in 1 or 2 innings. Derek Jeter played 9 innings, just like Mickey Mantle. And Mickey Mantle, when you look at his background and what he has done for the New York Yankees, he was always compared to Joe DiMaggio. Well, Derek Jeter will always be compared to Alex Rodriguez. And Alex Rodriguez, at his position, and what Alex Rodriguez did at his position, at the same position, he was a better defensive player than Derek Jeter was until he moved to third base. Derek Jeter became the best shortstop in the major leagues when Rodriguez came to the Yankees and moved to third base. And he changed his game completely. I would say Derek Jeter, because of what Derek Jeter was for the Yankees and what he did in the playoffs for the Yankees. Timely hitting. Mickey Mantle was a timely hitter. Power. Even in the playoffs, Derek Jeter is one of the best power hitters in baseball history in the playoffs. He wasn't a power hitter in the regular season. How many home runs did he hit in the playoffs? 25, 26 in his career?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, one of the most ever. So, it's Derek Jeter.
All right. Last one. Again, you could pick anybody for this, any legendary outfielder. Which MLB legend does Mike Trout compare the most to in terms of his current game? All right, I'm going to say it is Willie Mays. I think Willie Mays and Mike Trout were very similar. Obviously, Willie Mays being greater, but again, Mike Trout's still 26 years old. He's got plenty of time to be able to rise to that. I think both players were just so well-rounded in terms of what they can do. Power for a center fielder, and again, Willie Mays did it the first in his time. Really,
I just want to cut you off for a second.
Go ahead.
Somebody was saying Lenny Melnick was selling Mantle contact ? Check his case. It's not about, you're not understanding, Lenny. We're trying to compare these two players to Mickey Mantle. Now, Derek Jeter struck out a lot in the playoffs too. As much as he hit, he struck out a lot in the playoffs too. But timely hitting, Mickey Mantle was a timely hitter in the playoffs. Now, I might not know a lot about Mickey Mantle because I never saw him hit in the playoffs, but I know what his numbers were in the playoffs. If you compare Mickey Mantle's numbers to Derek Jeter's, besides home runs, they're pretty similar.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lenny, I just want to say, just to clarify, what I was referring to is not the amount of strikeouts. It's more where you could hit the ball in the strike zone. So a lot of heavy strikeout guys, they are all pull hitters. They're all up part of the strike zone hitters. Mickey Mantle wasn't like that. So that's more what I was getting at, more than the actual numbers of strikeouts. All right, back to what I was saying, Willie Mays. I think Willie Mays, great defensive center fielder like Mike Trout is. Again, playing in San Francisco is a lot tougher than playing in Angel Stadium in terms of playing in the center field, but they do a great center field. He could hit for power, he could steal bases, he could do just pretty much anything. And again, when you look at the state of baseball, Mike Trout has to do it for the Angels, having the Dodgers dominating them all the time. So it was kind of gets lost in California baseball, and Willie Mays is kind of the same thing. He was new to California baseball. He played with the New York Giants for a while too as a young player, and then he had to really create the icon that is the San Francisco Giants and their fan base, the way they grew as a team. He had to really create that. Him and Willie McCovey and a couple other players really had to do that on his own, but they were a relatively new team. They were very young, obviously, and he really was the icon that got that team going too. Kind of like Mike Trout is with the Angels, even though the Angels, obviously, in terms of popularity, still don't have it yet because the Dodgers keep dominating it. But again, that's not going to stop him from trying. So I'll say Willie Mays.
I'm trying to get numbers so I can argue with him because I'm trying to get Derek Jeter's playoff numbers. And I'm trying to compare him to Mickey Mantle so we can stop this argument, but I got Mickey Mantle's playoff numbers. I'm just trying to get Derek Jeter's playoff numbers, which I'm bringing it in right now. This computer is damn slow, man. All right. Derek Jeter, his playoff numbers, he had 32. I think he was 32 home runs, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to look at home runs. Speedy, you look up Derek Jeter's numbers.
I am on it. I'm just trying to find the postseason.
Derek Jeter had 20 home runs in his career in the playoffs and 61 RBIs. Mickey Mantle had 18 home runs and 40 RBIs. Derek Jeter in his playoff career, he was 308 batting average, and Mickey Mantle was 257. Mickey Mantle also played in the playoffs. His last 3 or 4 years of his career, he was in the playoffs, and he was at the end of his career, and that's why his numbers bore down. If you look at his numbers early in his career, 345, 250, 263, 250, 400. Then all of a sudden, his last 4 years, 167, 120, 133, and then 333, and he barely hit in the playoffs. So I understand what you're saying, Lenny, and your arguments are merited. We're not saying that Mickey Mantle wasn't, Derek Jeter wasn't better than Mickey Mantle was in the playoffs, because the numbers show that he was. Derek Jeter is one of the best playoff hitters of all time. But Mickey Mantle, in a time that was completely different, he was a 257 hitter in the playoffs, and he had 18 home runs and 40 RBIs. And his on-base percentage was .908. Okay? That's not bad. Those aren't bad numbers. Now, that doesn't say that. And listen, you could call the show if you want, 631-965-4990, if you want to argue that point. But what was the question, Speedy?
Which Hall of Famer or baseball legend, whichever way you want to put it, does Mike Trout most compare to in terms of the way he plays?
That's a great question.
So I went with Willie Mays.
You went with Willie?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike Trout has power, too. So
here's some context of Hall of Fame center fielders if you want to look.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Joe DiMaggio, he didn't have the power. I would take Joe DiMaggio,
right.
but he doesn't have the power. You know what I'm going to take?
All right.
I'm going to take Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because Mike Trout is a power hitter. Ken Griffey Jr. was a power hitter. Both of them are one of the best center fielders of all time. Both of them are Gold Glove winners. Ken Griffey Jr. I think had 14 or 13 Gold Gloves in center field. Mike Trout plays the same position. Both of them are great center fielders. Both of them hit for power. Ken Griffey Jr. I think career was a 287 or 286 batting average in his career. The only thing different right now, well, both of them are not good playoff players because both of them didn't play enough in the playoffs. I mean, Mike Trout plays for Anaheim, and all those years, Ken Griffey Jr. played for the bad Seattle Mariners. Well, how many home runs? I mean,
Career batting average
yes.
284.
284.
630 home runs, 18.
And right now, Mike Trout's career batting average is what, 311?
I think it's 308 or something like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're very similar. And Lenny keeps texting and sending messages. Lenny, call the show. 631-965-4990, and we'll put you in. We can't answer your questions because we're on the live show. So if you want, call the show, and we'll put you through, and you can argue your points. But I think it's Ken Griffey Jr. because of power, because of the defensive style of game, and the center fielder. Both of them played the same position. And both of them, when they came into the league, they were both highly praised at the position that they play. I think Mike Trout is going to be better than Ken Griffey Jr. because Mike Trout is on his way to be one of the greatest center fielders to ever play the game. I think he's going to be better than if he stays healthy, Mike Trout will be better than Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, all of them. Joe DiMaggio, he'll be better than all of them because his numbers show you that he's going to be better than all of them. And in the league with power and the game's completely different and the ball's juice, put him through. Put him through. I know who it is. Put Lenny through. Lower the music. What's going on, Lenny? How are you?
I'm doing mediocre.
You're doing mediocre.
And mediocre is an improvement, so
okay.
Feel bad for me.
Well, I'm happy that you called because we can't answer your messages on Facebook while we're talking on a live show. So
I know that.
So what is your argument here?
Okay, first of all, yes, I grew up in the 1950s with the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Yankees. Lived in Fresh Meadows, Queens, and I saw almost all of Mickey Mantle's career. Okay, now, I'm just talking about your statement. You said he was a good contact hitter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a good contact hitter because he swung and missed so many times that if you ever played all-star baseball with the spinner, 10 was a strikeout. His strikeout was almost as big as Babe Ruth's. Mantle was a strikeout guy. He ended up with a 299 career average. So when he did make contact, okay, he did exceptionally well. I'm not comparing him to Jeter. I'm just referring to your statement that you said he was a good contact hitter.
If he's a 298 hitter, he's a good contact hitter. If you're a career 298 hitter, you're a good contact hitter.
The most strikeouts he had in any season was 126, too.
He's doing well, but he didn't often put. I mean, not say he struck out too many times.
How did he struck out? Speedy just gave you the numbers.
He's a great player.
126 was his highest strikeout total in a single season, and looking at his game logs and season logs, it looks like his average
struck out a lot.
It looks like his average probably. I have to do the math exactly. It's
out
probably around 90.
All right. So
probably around
hold on 1 second. In 160 games when Mickey Mantle played, or
152.
152. Mickey Mantle. Let's go through his career. 74 strikeouts his first year. 111, 90, 107, 97, 99, 75, 120, 126, 125, 112, 78, and 32, 102, 76, 76, 113, 97. Are you kidding me, Lenny?
It looks like it averages out to about 90.
Yeah, he's not a strikeout. He was never a strikeout hitter. He wasn't. You look at his numbers. He didn't.
With all due respect, you have no idea what you're talking about, okay?
Well, you're saying, what is an average baseball player? Lenny, what is an average baseball player?
You can't compare. You're going to tell me Mickey Mantle was not a strikeout in comparison to the rest of the players in baseball? I'll say bull dinky and poppycock to that. You don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but numbers show that he wasn't. He didn't in 152 games. In 100,
you have no idea what those numbers mean when you refer to the other players in baseball.
We're talking about
clue as to what you're talking about.
Really? So give me a player. Give me a player right now besides Joe DiMaggio.
You're telling me Mickey Mantle was not a strikeout?
No, he wasn't. Not with these numbers. Not with this
numbers. You know nothing about Mickey Mantle.
Well, I'm looking at his strikeout numbers. You're telling me 74 strikeouts?
What? In that era, he was among the leaders in strikeouts.
Give me somebody. Give me another person. Give me another person in that era. Hank Greenberg. Bring up Hank Greenberg. Go ahead, Speedy. Bring up Hank Greenberg.
That shows me you have no clue. Hank Greenberg wasn't that era.
So give me a player in that era.
Give me that era.
So
look
Mickey
up Aaron. Look up Mays. Look up. Come on. Look up Frank Robinson.
Go ahead. Look at Mays. Go ahead. Look at Mays. Go ahead. Look at Mays. Go look at Mays. Speedy, just
You're
go up on the
telling
top.
me that
Just go up a
Mantle
maze.
was not a strikeout hitter.
No,
That
he
means
wasn't.
You don't know anything
No, he
about
wasn't.
the 1950s baseball.
No, he wasn't.
You don't know anything
Go
about
to his
Mickey
numbers.
Mantle.
Go to his strikeouts.
Yeah, Willie Mays looks like he struck out far less than Mickey Mantle. 1526 in his career.
92, 81, 71, 123. I mean, he struck out too. He struck out a lot too.
Yeah,
Go
maybe
look
he
at his strikeout.
did, but it didn't mean that Mantle did. You compare it to the rest of baseball, and you'll find that you're
How many times did he strike
wrong.
out? How many
If you
times did
think
Mantle?
Mickey Mantle, who was a
15,
great
1526 for
player, right?
Mays.
And you're talking to
Mantle,
somebody who
1733.
lived Mickey
1710.
Mantle.
No, 1733 is
Come on,
walks.
man.
1710.
You said
1710.
contact.
So you're telling me?
And then you
you're
change the
hold on.
subject
I'm
to
not
compare
changing the
it to
subject.
Jeter. It's no comparison.
What are you talking about? It's no comparison. What are you talking about?
You said you're comparing him.
We're not.
To today's baseball.
What was the
Those
question?
strikeout
What was the
numbers
question,
by
Speedy?
Mantle
So you get
The question
were
was.
extremely high for
Hold
that
on,
era.
Lenny. Listen to the
And if
question.
you deny that,
Lenny,
you don't say
Lenny,
that,
Lenny.
then you don't
Listen
know
to
anything
the
about
Lenny.
Mickey
Listen to the question.
How do you dare
Listen,
argue with me about Mickey
Lenny.
Mantle?
Listen to the question before you attack me.
What's the question? What's
The question was which ex-Yankee of the 1990s Yankees that won 4 World
Mantle
Series?
was a good contact hitter.
He
and
was
he's
a good
not.
contact hitter. He was a good contact hitter. How could you say he's not? How could you say he's not?
Because you're not paying attention. You're not
Lenny,
looking
look at the
strikeout.
numbers, buddy. Look at the numbers.
Was he a speedster?
Yes, he was a speedster early in
All
his
right,
career.
good for you. You
Early
got
in his
that one
career.
right.
Early in his career. And then he got, because of his injuries, he wasn't a
He
speedster.
wrapped up his knees so much he could hardly walk, and that's why.
I know,
you know
Lenny.
where he
His
finished
last
playing?
6 years.
Where did he finish his career playing? What position? Do you know
Was it
that?
first base?
I'm not sure.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Wasn't it first
I'm not
base?
sure. I thought he was
first
always
base.
outfield.
Yes,
Exactly
I know about Mickey Mantle. My grandfather used to tell me all about him. And by the way,
Terrific. I saw him.
all right, that's
play.
fine. I'm not arguing with
Who
you.
was his caddy?
I'm-
Who was known as Mickey Mantle's caddy?
Who
Do
was
you
his
know
caddy?
that?
Who was his caddy? I don't know.
You have no clue.
I have no clue. Yeah, I don't.
You have no clue.
But what
Don't
is-
tell me about
but what does that
Mickey
have
Mantle.
anything to do with his
Ross
strikeouts?
Pacino.
What does that
You
have-
never even heard of him.
No, I never heard
Was
of him.
Mickey Mantle's caddy.
How would I-
coming in the seventh
I
inning.
don't even play golf, so why do I
Tell me
care?
Mickey Mantle didn't strike out.
Lenny, I don't
Wasn't
even
among
care.
the
I don't
leaders
even
in
play golf.
strikeouts, 'cause you
I
have
don't
no
even play
clue
golf.
what you're talking
Lenny,
about.
I do have clue what I'm talking about.
Compare it to Clemente. Compare it
I'm
to
not comparing.
Aaron.
I'm
All right,
not.
You tell me.
Well, first of all, let's go to Aaron. Let's go to Aaron. Let's go to Hank Aaron. Go to Hank Aaron's
By
number.
the way, you know who Duke Snyder was?
Yeah, I do know who Duke Snyder was. What do you think?
He was
I don't.
a pretty good comp to Trout for about 4 or 5 years.
But that wasn't the
he
question.
Was better than Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle.
Okay.
Hank Aaron struck out 1383 times. Clemente struck out 1230.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. How many years did Hank Aaron play?
Hank Aaron played 23.
I don't know.
Clemente played 18, and
All right,
Mantle played 18.
18. So
What's the
Hank-
difference? How many years he played?
because strikeouts, you're saying how many strikeouts did Hank Aaron have?
Hank Aaron had
I didn't have
1383.
to look this stuff up.
I'm just asking him. 1383.
1383 and 23 years
23
playing.
years.
So he's right in that sense.
Yes.
Mantle 18 years,
Yes.
17
I'm right in every sense.
No,
about
no,
Mickey
no,
Mantle.
no.
And if you knew anything, and you're
Why
telling
are
me
you
that
attacking
Mantle
me?
was not a strikeout
He
guy,
wasn't a strikeout
then
guy.
you better start doing your homework.
He wasn't a strikeout
You're
guy.
acting like Mickey Mantle is Ryan Howard.
No, I didn't say that. Wasn't
Strikeout
Ryan
guys.
Howard.
What is it?
It
What
wasn't,
is
Strikeout
it?
guys are
Nelson
guys that strike out 150
was-
times or
he
more
was-
a year.
Who led the
He
league in
struck
less
out
time
a lot.
strikeouts?
Look at
Who
his strikeout.
was last year? Who
Look
led
at his strikeout
in least
percentage.
strikeouts?
Did you do that? Without
least
looking it
strikeouts?
up?
League strikeouts.
I have no idea. I can look it
Strikeout
up.
percentage. What does it have a strikeout percentage?
I want to know who led the league last year in least strikeouts. I want to know that.
And what?
In least strikeouts. I want to know last year in 2009 who struck out the least. I want to get a number.
Last year?
Yes.
2009?
Yes.
What does that have to do with Mickey Mantle?
What does it mean?
I don't have
Because
a
I want to know
computer
the
in front of
average. An average strikeout in the league right now is how many?
Oh God, I got to figure out qualified stuff.
What's the difference? What does that mean?
Because you're saying that Mickey Mantle was a strikeout hitter when he really wasn't a strikeout hitter. He really wasn't.
You know nothing.
But Lenny,
Except what you're
Lenny,
reading
go
the
look at the
computer and you can't
games.
even put that
Lenny,
together.
140.
You take a look at
So
Mantle's
Lenny,
strikeout
Lenny, let me ask you a
percentage. It was
question.
among the league
Lenny,
leaders.
Lenny,
It may not
Lenny,
add
Lenny,
up to anything
Lenny,
right now
Lenny,
because it's a different ball game.
Lenny.
Strikeouts are
Lenny.
are much more than
Lenny.
they were in 1957.
Lenny, you know I love you. You know I love you. Let me ask you a question.
Mantle was a strikeout
Let me ask
guy,
you a question.
And anybody who lived in that era, You have to look it up, and you don't have no clue what you're doing.
Really?
It's
100.
in comparison
So let
to
me
the
ask you a
other
question.
players.
Let me ask you a
Take a look
question.
at the
Let me
strikeout
ask you,
rate in
Lenny. Can I speak for a
comparison to the other
second?
players
Lenny, can I
who
speak
played
for a
in the
second?
50s.
Lenny, can I speak for a second? 142 games. 142 games. Is 111 strikeouts in 142 games a lot? Is that a lot?
In today's era?
No. In that era, is that a lot? 142
Yes, it
games.
is a lot.
How is 100? Are you kidding me? 142 games, 111 strikeouts. That's not even a strikeout a game. How could you say that's a lot? That's not a lot.
Because you have no clue. You're talking about today. I'm talking about in the 1950s.
I'm talking about the 1950s right now. I'm talking about it. 127 games. How many strikeouts? He had 90 strikeouts.
Take a look at his strikeout percentage.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at everything right now.
What is it? What is it?
Right here. Strikeout percentage. Strikeout percentage. Speedy.
I'm sorry to say you're doing a show and you can't go.
We're not even talking.
You don't know.
I think among qualified guys, the lowest strikeout total was Melky Cabrera with 41.
Where is Mickey Mantle in
What does that have to
strikeouts?
do with
Where is
anything?
Mickey Mantle in
He
strikeouts?
didn't play in the same era that
No,
Mantle did.
No, he's not.
Look up Mickey Mantle's era. Do your homework.
Hold on.
Next time you're on the show, I'll call in, give you a chance to do your homework. Mickey Mantle.
This had
strikeout
nothing to do with
percentage
Mickey
compared
Mantle.
To the rest
We
of the
were-
players in the American.
This had
in
nothing to
baseball
do.
in the 1950s.
Lenny, listen to me.
You
This-
won't do it because you don't.
You want me to do it? I'll
You're
tell
not
you
gonna do
what.
it.
I'll tell you what, Lenny. I'll tell you what. I will do it. And when I try to compare Mickey Mantle's strikeouts to ratio of all the players in the league, I guarantee you it wasn't amongst the league's worst. You want to bet on that? Let's bet. How much you want to bet?
I'll tell you what.
How much you want to bet?
I'll sit in for you. When you get the information, if I'm right, I will sit in for you and you can call me. All right?
That sounds good. That sounds good. I will get the numbers. As a matter of fact, I'll get them for tomorrow. I will get the numbers for tomorrow. You can call the show. And I will tell you right now, I'll go through every single player. What are we looking at from the 1950s on? What are we looking at? 1950 to 1960?
Yeah, just 1950. You can do 1950s. That was his era.
All right, so
The
we'll go
1950s.
we'll go to 1950s, and I will average out every single player in their strike.
1950. That's
50s.
He didn't play
1950s.
until 52. But you look at Mantle during the height of his career, wherever the years were.
All right, I'll
It
look
was
at
in the 50s and early 60s as well.
It was the 50s.
And you tell me
Yeah,
his
52 to
strikeout record.
67.
All right, so we'll-
Who had more strikeouts than Mantle?
All right, we'll do that. I'll do it from 1951 to
And
1960.
then you'll learn a lesson.
No, you're going to learn a lesson.
But don't you?
You're going to learn a lesson.
Don't you talk to somebody who lived and died with baseball in the 1950s in New York with
I love
Giants
you, man.
and Dodgers
I
and
love
Yankees.
you. I love you. I do. I love you. You call the show. It had nothing to do with Mickey Mantle's strikeouts. I said Mickey Mantle was a contact hitter. It was a contact hitter. He was.
Based on what?
Based on what? Based on your
What
strikeouts.
You're saying he's a contact hitter. How do you back that up?
How do you not back it up? You're saying he's a
No,
strikeout.
that's a bull dinky question.
Wow, how is a
Come
bull
on,
dinky
hotshot.
question?
It's your show. You made a statement. What are you making the statement on?
Well, here's one of them. 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 Your strike. Well, you can look at it.
Else.
Okay, I will look up his strikeout rate, and I guarantee you, he wasn't even in amongst the league's top 50 percentile. I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you mean you guarantee? What's the guarantee? How about if your guarantee is bull dinky and poppycock?
Oh man.
Well, it's easy to guarantee. It's easy to sit there and
We will
make
get the
statements,
we will get the
but when
numbers.
you have a show like this,
I will have you.
on a very good network, you should not just try to fake it.
I'm not faking nothing. What are you talking about? This was nothing to do with Mickey Mantle. I said who are the two players that you can compare? Which one you can compare closest to Mickey Mantle as a superstar? And it was Mariano Rivera and Derek Jeter. It had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with Mickey Mantle. We're just trying to compare him.
Because I didn't pay attention either. To tell you the truth, I didn't pay attention to the question, so I didn't answer the question. Okay, and that was my fault.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's your fault for not knowing what you're talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about.
It's your show.
I'm gonna get the numbers for you. I'm gonna get the numbers.
So there's
for
3
you.
years where he
It's
led the
your
league in
show.
strikeouts.
You take a look at now I got it open. 100 in 1952 led the league with 111 strikeouts.
Okay.
Led the league in 1954 strikeouts. Led the league 158 strikeouts. Led the league in 59 with strikeouts, and led the league in 1960 with strikeouts. Okay, hot shot. That's your answer.
1960, right? Okay, so
1952.
1952. All right, 1952. He was a 311. He was his batting in 1952. He was a 311 hitter, batting average.
Yes.
So you're telling me he's not a contact hitter? You're telling me he's not a contact hitter, batting 311? Come on, Lenny. He's batting 311.
That's not about contact.
Batting average.
Check out his contact rate.
Oh my!
Do you have that?
No, I don't have it in front of my face. Why would I have that?
He led the league in strikeouts. So how could you be a contact hitter leading the league in strikeouts?
Well, because he was batting 311.
How do you hit 311 without making good contact?
I don't understand what you're saying, Lenny. He's the 311 hitter.
He was a good contact
yes,
hitter.
he was. He was 311.
How do you hit 311 without making good contact most of the time? Where you just get a bunch of lucky hits?
Listen to the batting. Listen. Well, batting average has
a good contact hitter and lead the league in strikeouts 5 different times.
Okay, so he was a 353 hitter. He's not a contact hitter. He was 353.
353 hitter.
353 in 1956. You're not going to say he's a contact hitter?
He led the league in slugging percentage and adjusted OPS.
How could you say he's not a contact hitter? I don't understand what you're saying.
Because contact
1956.
is not striking out. We're talking contact. You don't even know what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
We're
Batting
talking
average.
contact.
Batting average has everything to do with contact. What are you talking about?
So from that logic, Victor Martinez was the best player in baseball.
He was a good hitter.
Logic.
The ball is BABIP, which I don't have, but if you figure it out, must have been very high. But he struck out too many times.
He struck out, but he was still a contact hitter.
Then you should be doing.
He was.
Be a disc jockey.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. You tell me this is not about contact. 311, 295, 300, 306, 353, 365, 304, 2. Batting average has everything to do with contact.
Not every hit is a lucky hit. They have to, for a hitter to hit 353 and 365. Most of them are quality line drive hits. That's contact. That's good contact. Good timing.
I didn't say he didn't make good contact. His hard hit ball and everything.
How could you say Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter?
Do you have any clue what baseball means?
Oh my God!
What is contact?
Lenny.
And when you swing and miss, and when you strike out too much, you're not making contact. When you do, you're among the best players in the game.
But when you say a player can't make contact, that's usually a guy that's a heavy strikeout guy that hits 250 or something like that. He hit 311, 353, 365, 321.
You know what BABIP means?
What is
batting average of balls in play?
We understand.
I'll pull it up.
We understand analytics.
You don't know what it means. What does it mean?
We understand analytics. First of all, Lenny, we don't do a fantasy sports show. So we're not going to sit here and look at Mickey Mantle.
What does this have to do with fantasy?
But what does this have anything to do with batting
average?
I told you he's a contact hitter because he's batting 311, 295, 300, 306, 353.
You're contact hitter.
How could you say he's not a contact hitter when he's batting that?
Contact is making contact with the ball.
All right.
You get it?
All right.
When
okay.
you strike out so many times and lead the league 5 times, you're not making contact.
All right, let's see.
When
Batting
you make contact, the ball goes over the wall, or you tend to get hit.
His career batting average on balls in play is 318.
Contact. You're trying to confuse
Tell him again.
the issue because you don't know what you're
Go
talking
ahead, tell
about.
him.
Lenny, his career batting average on balls in play is 318. He had years where he hit 357, 378, and 352.
He's not a contact hitter, Lenny, right? He's not a contact hitter, right?
What's the strikeout rate, Genius?
Oh, here he goes again with the strikeout ratio. What is that?
Well, that's what you're talking about.
Well, no, we're talking about contact.
When you're among the contact. What is contact?
Oh, my God.
Are you talking about walk to strikeout ratio?
Call me God. Call me the legend.
I'm not calling you God. I'm saying, oh, my God. Like, what are you talking about?
Well,
you're driving me nuts, Lenny. You're driving me nuts.
You must think I'm a God.
No, I think you're nuts.
What is
That's what I think
the
you are.
definition of contact?
The definition of my definition of contact, I look at batting average. That's what I look. If this guy is batting over 300 in his career, he's a contact hitter. Okay, that is a contact hitter.
That has nothing to do with contact.
Really? So what is it?
It has to do with when you hit the ball, you're successful.
All right,
but
all right, that's contact.
The percentage of times you hit the ball.
Okay, and again, to hit it well, to hit 353, 365,
it doesn't matter if
and the
you hit it
adjust.
well.
All right, so
it's about contact.
All right, so why was his adjusted on balls in play 378? He got a bunch of bloop weak hits.
What's that?
So why was his adjusted batting average on balls in play 378 one year? Were most of those lucky bloop hits that weren't hit well? Because he didn't make good contact.
What are you laughing at, hotshot?
I just think you're funny.
What's so funny?
I just think you're funny.
Your partner here just clearly proves he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Really? He's
Because
bringing
that
up
has nothing to
numbers.
do
He's
with
bringing up
contact.
numbers.
I'm bringing up
You're
analytics.
really
He's
making
bringing
me
analytic
nauseous. You know that,
numbers.
both of you.
No, I'm not arguing with you as a person, Lenny. And I know you're a fantasy guy, and that's what you
That
do.
has nothing to do with
But
it.
I know, but
Why do
I'm
you bring that up? What does Mickey Mantle
Because I'm giving
in the
you-
1950s have to do with fantasy?
Listen to me, Lenny. If you're going to honestly sit here and tell me that Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter when he was batting practically 300 as a career,
because you don't know what contact means.
Oh my God. What? Because he strikes out, he's not a contact hitter?
Because there were 3 years he led the league in strikeouts when he was also walking a lot too.
Come on,
Which,
when a guy
if you want to
leads
go
the
for
league in
ratio,
strikeouts
he
5
walked
times,
most of the
he
years.
doesn't make contact.
Okay.
Lenny, I love you, man. I'm going to get numbers for you, and I will bring you the numbers. But if you're going to honestly tell me that Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter, that's a crazy.
Well, you haven't given me your definition of contact.
Contact. I just told you. The way I look at contact is batting average. That's what I look at. I look at the batting average. That's what I look. If a guy's batting over 300 practically his whole career, he's a contact hitter. That's the way I look at it.
That's not contact.
What is contact to you? Give me your definition of contact.
Contact is putting your bat on the ball.
Okay, so if he's hitting the
That's
ball,
what contact
if he's
is.
averaging 356 in 1 year, and that means he's probably hitting the ball two times a game in 152 games. You're telling me he's not a contact hitter?
And if he's a guy that can hit well,
Absolutely not a contact.
And if he-
how is that possible?
if he's a guy that can hit well in different parts of the
If
strike
you
zone too, because he's
swing
that
and
good of a
miss,
hitter, pitchers will
50
adjust.
I'm just going to throw out numbers. And this is what you'll find. When you swing and miss and you don't make contact in an at-bat more times than anybody else, is that a contact hitter? Not talking about his home runs. Not talking about his batting average. Talking about contact. And when you swing and miss, as Mickey did so many times, more than anybody in that era,
More than anybody,
then
huh?
you're not making contact.
Okay.
But you're a great player. You can still be a Hall of Famer, but you're not making contact.
Still going to be a Hall of Fame. Could be a Hall of Famer.
You don't
He
know
was.
what contact is, so
Yeah,
it's
well,
very
your
difficult to
definition of contact and my definition of
So you
contact are
look
two
up
different
his
things.
contact rate.
I will.
Okay?
I will.
And
I
you
will.
tell me. But first, go out and find out what contact means.
I listen again. I'm
That's all
going to
you
say
got to do. It's
I
pretty
look.
simple.
I
You're
look
talking about it. You're supposed to prepare.
Prepare
when
to
you
what?
talk about it.
What are you
And
talking
have
about?
No clue what
I'm not going
contact
to. First of all, I'm not
means.
going to
So you shouldn't
prepare
be
about.
talking contact.
I'm not going to prepare about talking about contact. This is not a fantasy show. This is not a statistics show. We were talking
does that
about
have to do with
because I'm
fantasy?
not comparing Mickey Mantle's
Contact has
numbers to
nothing to do with
contact.
fantasy.
That. This has nothing to
You
do with
fall
the.
back on that
This
because
has
you had
nothing.
nothing else to say.
No,
You don't have the
Lenny,
answer.
that's
You tell
you're
me
wrong.
contact
You're
is
absolutely
batting
wrong, Lenny.
average.
Lenny, you're
That's the
absolutely
biggest
wrong.
nut.
Lenny, you're
Show me you
absolutely
don't-
wrong.
Shows me you have.
If you're going to
really know
honestly tell
baseball
me Mickey
as well as
Mantle,
you think
if you're going to honestly tell me that Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter when he was batting 356 and 365, I don't know what
Yeah,
you're
okay,
talking about.
We're going back and forth. I got no patience for you anymore. I'm telling you what.
I love you,
still
Lenny.
think the contact
I love you, Lenny.
is batting average? That's crazy.
I love you, Lenny.
It's a pretty good segment, right?
Yeah, man. Thanks for
anyway.
calling, man.
Listen, I'm trying to find somebody from today.
I know.
And I'm going to get you on this one, okay?
All right, man.
So just hang on for a second.
Okay.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
All right, contact.
Okay. Let's hear
all right.
this.
Contact. Coming up right now. Here you go.
Let's hear it.
Do you know who led Major League Baseball in strikeouts
What, last year?
last year?
Was Pete Alonso.
You're not going to know it, but it's okay.
He said Pete Alonso.
No,
Pete Alonso at
question
211
about
strikeouts.
No, it was Eugenio Suarez, okay?
Really?
Acuna was second. But you look up their contact rates, and you'll see that they're not that good.
All right, so Pete Alonso.
And I'll look
Pete
it up
Alonso was
for you
second
if
in
I
the
can find
league
it.
in 211
I
strikeouts.
can't find it.
And you're going to tell
I'm
me
trying
that
to
Mickey
find
Mantle
contact
wasn't a
rate.
contact.
I'm surprised. I could find it if I had more time. If you go on, let's say RotoWire, it'll give you his contact rate. Okay? Do your homework. I'll call in again tomorrow.
All right.
And aside from not knowing anything about Mickey Mantle, you guys do a great job.
Thank you, Lenny.
Okay?
Lenny is a great fan, and I love him. Lenny Melnick, a guy that I look up to when it comes to baseball. Guy knows what he's talking about baseball. My thoughts of contact and his thoughts of contact are two different thoughts of contact, but as far as I'm concerned, Mickey Mantle was a contact hitter. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's just, it's ludicrous.
Right, even if he wants to use the visual, all right, you got to make contact on the ball. Mickey Mantle is a good enough hitter where pitchers have to adjust to pitch him to different spots of the strike zone, and he still hit 300, 311, 353, 350, 365 amidst all that. With those coming, and there are a lot of great pitchers in that era too.
No question. And I'm not. And again, Lenny, I'm not taking a shot at you. I know you know what you're talking about. There's no question that you know what you're talking about. But your comparison to contact and contact ratio, whatever the hell you're looking at, I'm not looking at those numbers. I'm not a fantasy guy. I'm not even a guy that's looking for stats. I'm telling you, when I look at numbers, strategic numbers from batting average, from 311, 295, 300, 306, 353, 365, 304, 285, 275, 317, 321, 314. You're going to tell me you're not a contact hitter? Give me a break. I'm sorry. That's a contact hitter. I don't care how many times he strikes out. And he'd strike out as much as you think he did. I don't care if he led the league with 120 strikeouts, 126, 125 back-to-back years. Go look at his numbers those years. 304, 285, 275. Oh, and by the way, let's look at his RBIs. Those years, 97, 75, 94. And home runs. Home runs those years, 21, 23, and 17. So those were his worst years. If you look at his numbers, those were his worst years. And you're going to tell me Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter? Because even those years, he was close to a 300 hitter.
His best year, 52 home runs, 130 RBIs in 1956, 353 batting average, struck out 99 times.
Yeah, that's a strikeout guy. Yeah. Strikes out a lot.
Major strikeout guy.
He is a strikeout guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't put the bat on the ball. That's for sure. He strikes out a lot.
No, he just only gets bunt hits. That's how he hit 365.
He's just not a contact hitter. He's a terrible contact hitter. I know nothing about Mickey Mantle. I don't know as much about Mickey Mantle as Lenny does because he grew up at the time that Mickey Mantle played, and I'm not taking that away from him. But he thought I didn't know that Mickey Mantle played first base at the end of his career. I knew that. I know more than you think about Mickey Mantle, even though I really never got a chance to see him play live. I didn't get a chance to see him play live. I know a little bit about him because my grandfather used to talk highly of him, and my grandfather was a Joe DiMaggio fan. So for you to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, I might not know statistics from day one to day two like you do, Lenny, because you're a baseball guy and you're a fantasy guy. But what I do know is my way of looking at contact hitting is strictly batting average. And if I'm looking at his batting average, this guy is one of the best hitters of his time, of his time. Definitely the best switch hitter of his time. It's not even close. So to me, to say that Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter is ridiculous. But if you want to do it, you can call up tomorrow. I will get numbers. I'll have Speedy look up the numbers and we'll compare. How's that sound? Thank you for calling the show, Lenny. I really appreciate you.
And that was the first debate hour that actually lasted an hour.
Hey, listen, I like Lenny. I like Lenny calling up. And his arguments are very good and very noticeable. But again, his arguments are, in the way of the millennial people, millennial fans like us. We don't look at those stats. We don't. We look at the main stats. We look at batting average, on-base percentage, for hits,
OPS.
runs, OPS, home runs,
Slugging,
RBIs, and slugging. Those are what we look at. We don't look at any of those numbers. We don't. And if you look at Mickey Mantle's numbers in those times from slugging, OPS, they're off the charts. They're off the charts.
I'm seeing a lot of ones in the OPS department: 1.042, 1.169, etc.
Those are off the charts. And if you're going to tell me that Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter, it's a ridiculous, redundant argument. And that's your opinion, and that's fine. You have your own opinion, and I got mine. And that's it for our show.
And adjusted OPS, which is the analytic version, he led in that more than he led in strikeouts.
But listen, Lenny knows what he's talking about. And I'm not arguing his points that he doesn't know what he's talking about. But for him to come out and tell me that Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter when he was practically a 300 hitter his whole career, that is a ridiculous statement. Ridiculous. He batted 365 one of his years. Tell me a player besides Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio that batted 365.
Stan Musial, I think, too, but that was really it.
Very few people.
Right.
And you're going to tell me that Mickey Mantle wasn't a contact hitter? That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous argument. And to say that on this show and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, maybe I don't know as much as you do when it comes to Mickey Mantle, but I know a little bit. That's all I'm going to say about that. 631-965-4990 is the number. Remember, you can follow us by going to our website at worldwidesportsradio.com. And remember, guys, you can follow us on all our social media. Go to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube. You can go to radio.com. You can go to TuneIn Radio and iHeartRadio and all the podcasts throughout the country. If you missed our show, you can follow us and search us. Definitely watch the replay of our show, our clips. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Stay tuned for that. Until tomorrow. And by the way, thank you to Ryan. Ryan had the Morning Boys on this morning. It was a great show. Shout out to Ryan. Ryan's awesome. He really is. Shout out to Ryan Hickey and the Morning Boys. Great show this morning. We will have Guido's show back very, very soon, The Haystack. And hopefully in the near future, we'll have Third and Long and Mr. Mothball back in town. So hopefully very, very soon. And we'll have other shows coming onto our network very, very soon.